This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, my name is Tracy James and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast about movies that are well off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In this episode, Josh Ratliffe joins me in talking about an award-winning downer and a delightful palate cleanser with Saving Private Ryan and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Welcome!
Hi! Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. I feel like we're going to talk a lot about these two movies.
What? That doesn't sound like us. This will be a nice, quick episode.
Yeah, a nice.
Nothing will be in and out.
Good, a sweet, terse 5 minutes, and we're very succinct in our thoughts, and we're just like, and we're done. Walk away.
And always direct to the point. That's what I like most about our conversations. Is that we just stay on topic. We just dive real deep.
Just exactly, right? Oh my God. I know I had initially warned you about this episode that I possibly will not be watching Saving Private Ryan. But I did do it in 2 sittings. And I'm really happy I did it in 2 sittings because I don't think I could have sat through a full 2.5 hours straight with this amount of death and oppression. So
I think it was close to 3. I think it was even getting closer to 3. This was a 2 VHS.
That is right.
Guy, if you remember that, if people of listeners of a certain age will have a thing in their head for, that movie's long. It had 2 VHS tapes.
I remember those.
Yeah,
Titanic was one. Yeah,
all the Godfather movies.
Yeah. But there was another one, like a really popular movie, like
Gandhi?
Titanic.
I think Gandhi might have been one.
That probably is one. Yeah, this movie was 2 hours and 49 minutes. So yes, more than 2.5 hours for sure. And
it just felt like a 2.5 hour. You're like, I'm breezing through it.
Yes, it's like no. I feel all of the things. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I guess we could start with that one since Scott Pilgrim's the palate cleanser that it is.
Yes, we have to make people feel happy before they leave.
Yeah.
So. Yay. Yeah. So, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. What's weird about this movie is that it is, if somebody had asked me what's a movie that you haven't seen, this is my go-to movie. Because this is like my biggest blind spot. I had never seen this before 3 days ago.
Okay, great. Yes. Yeah. So just like me, I had never managed to watch it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this movie's intense.
It is.
And actually like more so than I was expecting in a weird way. Like it has a reputation for being like that. The opening scene is what most people kind of know of it, right? That's sort of most of the references that I've heard. Is the landing on the beach scene, which is crazy. And then it does other stuff for about 2.5 hours.
Yes.
So I didn't really know what the rest of it was much at all. But it was a lot sadder than I thought. And really twists the knife more than I thought it would. I was kind of thinking because I know the reputation about the storming the beach scene, which is also depressing. Like it's horrible seeing all this horrific violence. But I sort of wasn't thinking that it would be so personally sad as much as it was.
Well, it's because it's so close up to all of these characters, right? You're just like, it's this person and this thing happened, and you hear about how they ended up there and their own personal journeys, and as they get picked off one by one, spoiler, you're like, oh, now I know about you. Oh, and now you're dead. I guess that's what it's really like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you do. I did get a little bit verklempt at certain parts. which I very rarely do, no matter how sad something is. And but I was just like, can't handle this. Can't do this
Yeah.
more than once. This is one of those like great movie, I'll never watch it again movies. So
Yeah.
we're there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean I think there's a lot to talk about in it. I think there's a lot of interesting juxtaposition between form and content in an interesting way. Um how I'd like to start by asking you how you feel about the most of the characters in the movie in terms of morality.
It's very gray in their
Yeah.
morality, to be honest. The only one that seems to not really like stay on the quote unquote sort of racist sounding white side of things is Tom Hanks's character.
Hmm.
Whereas everybody's is keeps jumping into that black area real quick as soon as something happens.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things, especially as soon as they get off the beach, there's a lot of stuff that's happening behind them
Hmm.
that's in very, very seedy, dark areas where they're just, yeah, yeah, I know these Germans were trying to kill them and stuff, but you know, the Americans were supposed to be quote unquote the better people.
Hmm.
But they stormed the beach. They just saw their friends died, and one of the first things they do, even if they catch people, they like line them up. They shot people in the background, or there's one scene where it's Tom Hanks's character just walking across, and these two guys speaking German, hands up, not armed, and these two other guys were like, "What? What are you saying?" And then they just shoot them point blank, right?
Hmm.
Just and like not like one shot in the head or anything. It was like full on machine gun up and down, dead. And they're walking by like, "Yeah, this is just what happens." You're like, "Okay, cool," and you're just like, "Wait, I thought we weren't supposed to be doing that." Like, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
it is a war crime.
it is a war crime. There's a
Yeah.
part where also like they're walking, there's it's the same scene, they're walking, they walk another part and they're storming a trench bunker. And so they coax the people out of the bunker somehow. I forget what the scene is, but as soon as the door opened, they're just like picking them off one by one, you
Hmm.
know, just blaze of bullets into the trench. No, and like they're all coming out unharmed because they're like, we surrender or whatever. And they're just picking them off. And he's just walking by having a conversation, you know? And it's stuff like that where you're just like, yeah, he's turning a blind eye, which is also not a great thing. But also he refuses to partake. He didn't like Tom Hanks's character didn't partake in any of those things.
Yeah.
But that also, you know, the idea of non-participation can sometimes go for the people that are doing the wrong because you're not stopping the wrong. So
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that
he's in
falls back
charge.
into a gray area. Yeah,
Yeah.
technically he's in charge.
Yeah,
But
he's the captain. But
but you're
I
surrounded
mean,
by a bunch of really angry people with guns and you're like
yeah.
maybe yelling at 100 people to stop shooting will just get you shot. So you're just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm just going to walk by this thing." Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in a squad and Tom Sizemore isn't like the craziest guy there, you're in trouble. Because
There's
he's
an
like kind
issue.
of the voice of reason sometimes. You're like, oh shit, Tom Sizemore is like okay on the level here. That's not
Yeah.
good.
Well, there were several scenes where I was just like, it's just like, I think it's just the characters he's always played, or maybe it's just like sometimes he gets those like bug eyes, you know?
Hmm.
And a scene would happen, I'm like, he's gonna fucking lose it. And he's just like, no, listen to the captain. We gotta do it this way. And I was like, wait, what? What? This is not where I thought this was going, but fine.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I expected him to do a bunch of PCP and then just run at them for that seems like a Tom Sizemore character, right? Like
Exactly.
that's his MO in most movies.
I mean, he was gathering sand from all the beaches he landed on.
I thought that
So
was incredibly sweet.
yeah, which I mean, it's like a mini travel log, I guess, but also real heavy. I would think that was real heavy.
Well, I think what to pull from that is this is not his first rodeo, right? Like because his different things were I think Africa was one.
Yeah,
Um, what was the other one? So France, Italy was that also one? Like
I think
he's done
so.
tours.
Yeah,
Um,
and it was clearly more. It was like six or seven, I think, were in there. They were kind of like rattling around, because it was more than just like the three on top. Like there was definitely a second layer
yeah,
of them in there. So he's like, I survived. I can do this. If I follow instructions and pay attention, I can make it.
yeah,
And so he was there, and I think that was also supposed to go with Tom Hanks's character as well. That he also had been, in a few things.
yeah.
So he kind of knew what he was doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the themes of the movie is that these people are normal, and that the circumstances have changed them, and that I mean, when I think the attitude when people signed up for these wars, World War One and World War Two, was that it was an adventure. Like this is how these people would go see Europe. So him taking those samples to me goes like, okay, he wanted to go see the world, and that's why he's here.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is his opportunity to do so. Um, and in terms of the other souvenirs that people take, pretty innocent. Because I mean, my grandfather had a German gun in his closet
Mm-hmm.
for 60 years. So you know, this that kind of stuff it was endearing to me.
Yes. Yeah. It made you like normalize them in this extreme and intense situation.
Mm-hmm.
But also allowed you to, I guess, realize that maybe people aren't that great at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's sort of I mean, I thought about this movie for a little while after watching it and realized it doesn't have to be a World War II movie. There's not really that many details about this movie that are unique to that particular war.
That's true.
So like you could have put this in Vietnam, you could have put this in Iraq, you could have put this in Iraq again, you could have put this in
I know I
wherever
should be
we're
laughing, but
now.
that is funny.
Yeah,
Yes.
no. But it would have like the characters on display would have been the same throughout them. They're a bunch of kids that want to go home.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, which that's the I mean I think that's when I got my cry moment is them all like half the people that we watch die slowly scream for their mother at the end,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is that's
yeah.
rough.
Well, that's the thing. So people are probably asking, like, why do you have this movie if you've never watched it? Right? I didn't see it in the theater because I have a problem with war movies. I cannot watch them. And part of the reason is a lot of war movies are really well made movies so that you connect with all the characters and blah 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 blah. And then you sit around thinking, I'm like, no, no, no. It may not be this specific thing, but things like this happen to people for real. And I'm a surprisingly empathetic person who doesn't cry at movies. And I'm like, I don't need this in my life. I don't need this pain. I go to the movies to get away from reality and have a good time. I don't need this.
Mhm.
And of course, because being a movie buff, like my brother bought this. I inherited it from him, and I was like, you know what? I'm a movie buff. I'm gonna try and watch this. I have never gotten past the beach scene, and it's usually to the point where there's this one part in the beach scene where there's a guy walking around looking for his arm that's been shot off, and
Mhm.
he's just there looking for it, like he's looking for his keys, and then he picks it up and just like walks off. And I'm just like, and I'm done. Off you go. Not doing this anymore. I was just over it. I was like, I can't handle. And I did that about like three times. And then I was like, I'm done trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as I told you, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to actually watch this movie for this episode. And I was like, no, you're gonna do it. You're gonna get past the beach scene. And like Sean, who's a friend of the podcast, was like, look, after the beach scene, yeah, there's stuff that happens, but it's not so tightly, intensely packed together. So you will be able to get through it. And I was like, all right, I just gotta make it. And he's like, you just skip the beach scene. I was like, no, that's an integral part of the movie. I have to watch it,
Mhm.
you know?
I
And
agree.
it was just, and like there's every shot of the beach scene is worse and worse and worse and worse. And if you watch some of the details of things in the background and the foreground, there's a part where like three guys are like holed up behind what are those X things on the beach that keeps boats from landing and stuff like that that and keeps tanks out?
I don't know the official name. We can call it an artificial reef.
Sure, artificial reef. Anyway, they're hiding behind that thing, and like one guy sticks his head out to try and run, and he just gets shot in the head, and the guy behind him just pushes him over and turns to talk to the other guy beside him, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I'm like,
No.
it's stuff like that. I was just like, yeah, I don't enjoy this. And I spent a lot of that beach scene on my phone, looking up every once in a while, going like, I'm watching it. I'm
Mhm.
watching it. Yeah, no,
Well,
no,
I'd like to talk about that scene quite. I mean, that is sort of like the big scene, and it is about 25 minutes long. It's really long.
very long.
Um, there's a stand-up comedian like a long time ago told this joke about this movie, and this was long before I saw it, and I've always carried this joke with me. It was, in Saving Private Ryan, when they're arriving on the beach and the thing plops down and somebody gets shot in the head immediately, that would be me. Like that's my story. And I'm like, yeah, no, I get that. I would be that too. Like I am the guy with bad luck. So I've sort of carried that with me the whole time before watching this movie. And then I watched it and I was like, man, there's a lot of people that got hit before they even got off the boat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like it is like that's what it is. It's like, oh, I would have been one of those. Like, and I
Mm,
think that's what makes the impact in that particular case for me, is that like, yeah, no, all of those people could have been me, like over and over and over again.
yeah.
And it's completely random. There's absolutely no reason that one person lives and another person doesn't in this movie, um, which is that's a profoundly sad thing. Um, Kind of going on your point of like it's how difficult to watch it is. I actually wondered as I was watching if it was too much,
It was
as
a
in
lot.
like too much like horror movie violence. Because like the level of violence and gore in the opening scene, I've only ever seen in like a slasher movie. There's like
Mm.
people with like guts hanging out and like someone trying to find their arm. Like it is so intense. Like and I know and from watching movies that that's not unintentional. Like the Steven Spielberg made it that way on purpose. I think that it serves a function in that it shows that anything can happen at any time. So when we're watching the rest of the movie, we're tense because we know the level of violence this movie will throw at us at a sudden moment, as well as maybe people we thought were going to live before might not live. Like anything can happen. It also makes us like the Germans less, which is an odd thing to say. But when they're executing prisoners, we may not feel so bad after we saw someone's face get blown off. Um, so it puts us a little more in the minds of these people who are now looking for vengeance. But I kind of wonder if that was a cheap way to do it, like by putting all this over the top gore in it. Um,
Well, he's like Steven Spielberg has been there was like there was an article like long time ago where I think essentially people were saying the same thing is that there's too much gore in this movie, like whatever. And this is also one of the earlier movies where like I know like Apocalypse Now exists and all that kind of stuff. But I find a lot of those movies are unreal or um fantastical about their stories of war and the type of violence that happens in it. And yeah, there's like Full Metal Jacket and of course Schindler's List came out before this, but this is really on the German. You see more like the German side and what happened to the Jewish peoples. And like because it's the Holocaust. And like this is the follow-up on the beach to try to stop all this. And he's like, no, this is what people went through. This is how horrible it was. And I wanted to make it as realistic as possible. And really I find up until this point, like war movies were more about being patriotic and doing the right thing and like, yeah, we have to go to war because we're righteous and we're good and we're this. And like this shows, the horrors of it, but also how unrighteous it is
Mhm.
once you get there and you're like in the grit, you know? Because they do go back to land, and they do show like that army office where they're typing up all the letters for the deceased, which is also a horrible task if you think about it. And everybody's in like clean suits and clean offices, and the general comes in and the stars all shiny, and he's like, whatever, just send them to go find Ryan. And you're just like, do you know what you're telling them to do? Like, that is a intense and extreme task to ask people to do. And yeah, I'm really happy this mother got one of her sons back. But at the same time, you're just like, it's not like walking across the street and getting on a bus. It's
Yeah,
peril. It's all
why
peril.
don't you go find that guy? Oh yeah, where is it? Europe?
Yeah. Yeah. And, and like, oh my God.
Does he have a cell phone? No, those aren't invented for another 50 years.
You have your one comms guy who gets his face blown up on the beach, and you're
Oh,
just like, I'm sorry. He went going back, talking, 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 pulls him one time, and he's like, oh, throws him back, and I'm like, oh my God.
no.
Yeah. It's
No, it's
just,
unrelenting.
yes, it
And
is
and I
very unrelenting. Yeah.
and I think that that's maybe where my because like no one person saw all of that. Like we are an omnipresence on the beach. Like we're going from place to place. This isn't a Dogma 95 storming the beach at Normandy. It's like we're jumping around and seeing like lots of different people's perspectives on horrible stuff happening. So but yeah, like I said, it serves a purpose. Like I get why it's there, and I think it does the movie better in the long way. But in as an individual sequence, I question.
It's a bit much.
Yeah,
Is yes.
a bit much.
Yeah.
But like I
Like,
said, it's for a purpose.
yeah. Like, I mean, I get it. And I find it just didn't need to be that long. Even if
Hmm.
even if it's still there and it's cut to maybe, let's say, 10 minutes instead of 25 minutes, would be, you'd still see a whole lot.
Yeah.
Trust me, a whole, because every second of that sequence, you're seeing something horrific happen.
Well, I mean, they
And
find the guy like an hour and a half later.
yeah,
So I mean, like the beach is 25 minutes, and then they look for Ryan, and he's like, "Oh, there he is." It's like an hour and a half.
yeah. And then they sit around and set up for a giant battle. And you're just like, what?
Mhm.
Okay. And the thing that annoyed me about that part as well is when they find the correct Ryan, let's get that right first. Um, like he's just like, he says the lines that every patriotic movie ever does, is I have to stay with my brothers, and how do I get to live and they don't, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? You should. And I see at the end of that whole sequence at the end of the movie, he was just like, I should have gone home. I should have fucking gone home.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I mean we've talked about the moral grayness of a lot of the characters of the movie. I sort of hinted a little bit before that I saw like a contrast between what was the filmmaking behind it and like sort of what's happening. So like there's a lot like the score in particular in this movie is so heroic. Like so like everything that anyone ever says is like a swell, and it's like we're gonna get him, and then we see the American flag waving, and then like a minute later they're shooting someone with their hands up,
Yeah.
and you're just like, okay, and I think that's a really interesting thing. People also shot with like halos a lot, like the light really gives them like an angelic quality. Um, like it's quite. I mean, that's sort of what Spielberg did for a little while. He does a lot of that kind of like harsh light stuff. But I thought that was really interesting in terms of like, oh yeah, but they're kind of like pieces of shit, like quite a bit. I mean, it is the greatest generation, and I appreciate, this is the good war, if there is such a thing. Um, and it is about their sacrifice, but they sacrifice sort of their own souls in a way at the same time. And I think
They
that that's sort of what the movie is getting at.
Yeah, and they really did. And also it comes back to that like that really hokey uh bring back of like, hey, remember this guy at the end?
Mhm.
Where like the chance that they would have come across the same guy in a war that was happening like it was happening is one in millions, you
Mhm.
know? And they went through this whole moral scene about no, he's technically a prisoner of war. We're like with his own team, he's like, we're not supposed to just shoot people that are unarmed and all this kind of stuff. You already had him go through this manual labor under threat of death and whatever. Just it's an open field. Just let him go. And if he gets picked up by one of the our other teams, fine. If he just goes home and cries in his bed, that's fine too. Just let it happen. And the fact that at the end he's there picking people off, I was like, I was like, really? Like your message right now is never give someone a chance
Mhm.
because they'll come back and like point blank shoot you if they could.
Yes. I also was confused by the morality of that. I think that makes it's an interesting turn. And makes you kind of question your own thoughts about it. Uh, I mean, I'm not in favor of I'm in favor of the Geneva Convention. I know that's a controversial take. Uh, but yeah, not executing POWs is, up there in terms of like, yeah, that's something we should not do. But yeah, the movie is sort of like, should they have done that? Should they have, there's sort of a like, I feel like a bit of a nihilism in this movie, in that
Yes.
it is sort of like, yeah, we did this and we did it sort of for the right reasons, but we didn't do it the right way necessarily the whole time, and we didn't like these are people. This is a movie about like human beings in the situation. It's not trying to make them into angels, I guess.
And
Which
that
I applaud
I
it for.
and that I understand. And I agree with you. I applaud them for that. Like when you're in war, whether you're shooting somebody for the right reason or the wrong reason, you're still shooting someone, which is a horrible thing to have to do. I get it. It can just start blurring the lines between right and wrong because you're just like, well, I've already killed 800 people this way. What's wrong with doing one more this way? I get it, you know? And also, when you're on adrenaline, you've just seen all your people die, like I've said before, your mental state is probably not in the right place. You might do some wrong things. I get it. But I find with that part of the story specifically, I found it unnecessary and unwarranted and just sort of like cheapens the rest of the story in my
Mhm.
mind by bringing that whole thing around. It just seems like a schlocky action flick. Oh, you left before the bad guy took his last breath. Haha, he's back. And it just comes across like a cheesy play in something that was otherwise quite, you
Yeah,
know,
that is a
yeah.
convention in like one of those plays that takes place in one room, where it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, that guy the whole time. Hold
Yeah.
on a minute. Yeah.
You know. So I was just like because even that scene at the end, I was like, is that the same guy? Why didn't he stab that guy on the stairs? Maybe that is the same guy. And then later they show him picking people off. I'm like, oh, that's totally the same guy. Like it took me a while, and it also took me out of the scene as I'm trying to figure out like why are they focusing on this specific German soldier all of a sudden? And I'm like, I guess that must be him.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same guy on the stairs, was it? I think the stairs guy was like an SS guy.
Then why wouldn't he have taken out
I think he was a coward.
the
I mean, not a
translator
coward.
dude?
That's way too harsh. I think that the translator guy, um is a pacifist, right? Like he's the one that was sort of going on, and I think why he didn't shoot him on the stairs, I don't know.
Well, I'm talking
Maybe he didn't
like,
need to.
yeah, but at the same time, like they both stopped on the stairs and stared at each other, and you could tell the translator guy was just like, "Oh shit, you're the one that's still alive, not my friend." And the guy just like walked past him. I'm like, because he had picked his gun back up and stuff. I think I'm like, would you have
Mhm.
just shot him? Like, based on what had happened so far in the movie, I would have thought no matter if you're not carrying a gun or not. I mean, he was draped in bullets and stuff, but
Yeah.
I would have thought he would take him out. So that's why I assumed it was the same guy that was later on picking people off.
Yeah. I did not think that that was the same one. What was weird about that kind of sequence at the end, because the movie does sort of do, makes you feel for the soldiers equally, not equally, makes you feel some sort of sympathy for the enemy soldiers, the German soldiers,
Yeah,
um, because there was a conscription in Germany. People that were not true believers necessarily weren't the ones on the front lines.
yeah.
It was just normal people that were forced to do this under their country.
Well,
Um,
so is it's the same thing as the draft, to be
yeah,
honest.
no,
So yeah.
that's yeah, no, that's
Mhm.
that's what it is, and they were drafted. But what's weird is at the end, a lot of the people a lot of the German soldiers in that were wearing SS patches. So the movie really did kind of specifically go like, oh no, these are true blue Nazis.
Yeah,
Um, which it's a little bit strange to do it that way, especially because it's like I guess because there's a lot more like cannon fodder in that last battle. Like there's a lot more like Germans getting mowed down than kind of the rest of the movie, and we want to feel less for them, but it sort of still does that kind of tone where you
yeah.
sort of feel bad for them and humanize them.
Well, it's because so the like I find the way that last scene is filmed, it is like the opposite scene that's on the beach,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where they're walking in, they can't see who's shooting them, but they're just getting mowed down. And
Yeah,
so it's just like, oh, you're on the other side. So you're doing the mowing down now. Ugh,
yeah,
that kind of like iffy kind of horribleness. Yeah.
yeah. It definitely makes the viewer question what's happening.
Yeah.
Um, which is interesting. This is definitely a movie made before 9/11, because
Yep.
post 9/11 there wouldn't be that kind of morality question, I don't think. I mean, maybe in different kinds of spaces, but I don't think a movie that made, how much did this movie make? $480 million or whatever. Um, that it probably wouldn't raise that kind of patriotism question, or the price of patriotism and all that kind of stuff, and the morality of the soldiers doing things.
Well, I mean, morality was always a question, especially after well, no, starting in Vietnam, they were making movies where war was questioned. Before that, no, especially if you're a North American, war was not questioned. We are right and we are doing the right thing, and it's right to
God's on
fight
our
back.
side.
God's on our side, right? And then during the Vietnam War and stuff like that, they started making movies where they're just like, is war a good thing no matter how good you think you are? Because maybe you're not that good if you're just killing people. I get it. Um,
War, what is it good for?
absolutely nothing. Say it
There you go.
again. Um, and like this movie does visually does this thing that I've been complaining about lately where a lot of movies like I'm talking more like superhero movies or like bad guy good guy movies where they try so hard to humanize the bad guy, and so at the end of the movie you're just like, wait, but the bad guy's idea was technically correct.
Mhm.
but we killed him because he was doing it wrong. Is
So you're
that a right
saying
thing to
Thanos
do?
was right, is what you were getting at here?
Well, Thanos was an environmentalist. He was like, shit's dying, and if half of us didn't exist, shit would die less slow, and the half of us left will be real happy, which he was wrong about. But like just murdering, half of the universe is not a good look. But
Okay, so we're
we
off on
can't
our
really
first
count
tangent based on my stupid joke.
that.
Uh,
Or like, hold on,
here's
but there's also like Killmonger. Killmonger's like, you guys have been hiding in Wakanda here for hundreds of years, where all the black people everywhere else have been being murdered. I'm gonna send guns and ammo to the rest of the black people so they can properly defend themselves and have their actual real place in the world. And they were just like, no, we have to keep things for ourselves because people can't know about us. And he's like, fuck this, taking over. And you're just like, you know what? He's kind of right, but also maybe don't be a dick about it.
well, I mean, I think there's ways to support communities other than giving them guns and ammo.
Agreed.
Um,
But his thing was like, black people are oppressed. We should help
yeah,
black people. That was his whole message,
yeah.
you
No,
know?
well, I mean, back to the Thanos thing, because there was like a whole thing with the Thanos was right. There's a slight difference between Thanos and Killmonger in that Thanos had a magic gauntlet that could grant him any wishes,
Yeah.
like a Dragon Ball or whatever.
Yeah.
And he could have just said, "Why don't we just have more food?"
Or something. Yes.
Yeah, let's just double resources, snap. I don't think anyone would have stopped him.
Yeah. I'd have been like, hey, can I get one of those like never ending pizza slices?
It's
That'd
like,
be real cool.
mm-hmm.
Done. World saved.
Yeah,
It's over.
everyone gets
Yeah.
pizza.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like I get it. I'm not defending Thanos. I don't think
Uh-huh.
killing half the universe is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But
That would have been
essentially, his thing was I'm an environmentalist because I saw what it did to my world. Let's try this. And I was like, oh my God. But I get it. I see
I
where you're
mean, that
coming
would have
from.
been a really funny ending to the Avengers movie, right? Is that he snaps his fingers and they're like, no. And it just turns out he doubled the food for everybody. Like, he didn't actually, like, they were just like, had bad intel and that his intentions weren't to kill half the people. It was to just give everybody more food.
Everybody gets food, everybody gets what they need. It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, and that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But no, it was murder a bunch of people.
Feel like he wasn't looking at different perspectives. He sort of was like one of those guys in the meeting that has an idea in his head, and like everyone else is like, "What if we did this?" And he's like, "No, I think we're gonna go back to the killing half the population. I
He's
think
like,
that's been our best idea so far. Let's put it on the board.
let's just stick with it. We're gonna
Yeah,
stick with this, okay?
number
Done.
one with a bullet, kill half the people."
Done. Circle,
Yeah,
starred. This is where we're going. Okay. Get that done. All right. But yeah. Sorry, we're gonna come back to
yeah.
the downer.
Back to sympathy for the devil.
Yeah. Where so like in the end, like you were saying, they do put that view on some of the people getting killed that like, oh, I feel sorry for the bad guys now. But then it comes all the way back around. It's like, hey, remember this guy? And he just starts
Yeah,
killing people, and you're just like, oh, shoot the fuck out of that dude.
yeah. He
Which,
killed the guy I like.
yeah.
Those
So,
that guy I felt bad for before killed the guy that I felt bad for. That's
so
he just wanted to go home and teach English.
yeah, that's all he wanted.
He wanted to go be lame Tom Hanks.
He was afraid of being a different person to his wife and stuff, which is a real thing that happened when people come home for war. Um,
Well, I mean,
but
he can get the coach from the Peach Pits to, or the Georgia Peaches to, hang out with his wife. She wasn't doing anything during the war. He was just being drunk and yelling at ladies about baseball. So,
yeah, so get him to play baseball because you're not allowed
yeah,
to cry during baseball. Just learn to chew some wacky tobacco. Not wacky. It's just regular tobacco. And like spit it out there. You're good. You're good to go.
Tom
So,
Hanks loves the 40s and 50s, right? Like it's crazy how much Tom Hanks is in the 40s and 50s.
I can only think of these two movies though. Is there another
Well,
one?
there's that. There's Forrest Gump. That starts that's he's like, and that's going through
Oh,
baby boomer time.
that
So
is
that's
true.
50s, 60s. I guess he's not Tom Hanks until the 60s. Um, but there's that. There's, I mean, he's Elvis's manager
Oh,
in Elvis.
I did not
I
watch
don't,
that movie.
I haven't either, but he's in that. He does stuff there. He's sort of the ultimate like dad,
Well,
and
I think
dads do 40s and 50s. You know what I mean? Like this
well, I
is like,
think his face works really well with that time period,
yeah,
especially after like he did all his comedies in the 80s and then he just hit a point where like he didn't just like his face didn't like age weird or anything. It was just like no, it's set in this like adult 1950s dad face. That's what you're stuck with. You're doing that now. There you
you're saying he
go.
has a sweater vest for a face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like oh
it's
yeah, he played
warm.
Mr. Rogers, you know, sweater
Yeah.
vest and sweater vest. It
Hmm.
works. It
It
really
was a
works.
double sweater vest movie.
Also didn't watch that one. Probably should. I don't know.
I feel like that one's going
Um
to be sadder to me. I don't know why. That
yeah.
kind of kid stuff really like gets me.
Yeah,
I
even
know
though it's
he's a
supposed to
very
be
nice man and he lived a nice life, but I just like there's something about it. There's going to be some twinge of sadness and I can't do it.
yeah, but I don't even think it's a twinge of sadness. It's that like that twinge of I don't know, remembering your youth and innocence that is broken because this
Hmm.
person doesn't exist anymore. I don't know.
Yep.
I
Well,
guess
I get it. That's cutting straight to the core of me. Yeah. No, that
yes.
is this is how I cry myself to sleep at night is
Yeah. They're like, oh my God, once there was a dude on TV who used to make me laugh and be happy. He doesn't exist anymore.
Oh,
Yeah. That's so many of
he
us.
doesn't exist anymore. It's such a fucking sad way to put death.
Thanos snapped him away. He's like, you don't
Oh.
deserve this. Snap. Done.
Yeah, no, it's weird when they snapped everybody back. They specifically said, but not Mr. Rogers. It's like he can't. We all learned from him passing, and we can't undo that lesson.
Exactly. This one has to stick. This lesson has to
Yeah,
stick, you know. Uh
it it's like yeah, it's a point in the timeline that cannot be edited, which
exactly.
is actually something I was kind of thinking about in this movie. Is that World War II feels that way in that it is something that affected culture and our world so much that I feel like it is a dot that everything comes out of.
Yeah. What do they call it? I literally just watched this movie the other day. A canon event. It's a canon
Yeah,
event.
it's a canon
Um,
event. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and it's really true because like you think about there's always jokes about like going back in time and killing baby Hitler or going back in time and letting Hitler into art school. Or like going back in time full John Connor style and like killing his parents, you know, like just make sure Hitler doesn't exist so World War II doesn't happen, right?
Mhm.
And when you think about it, you're just like, well, what would be different
Oh, we'd
that
have a different name.
it'd have a different well, I mean, World
It
War
wouldn't be
II,
Hitler. It would be like Himmler. It
Himmler.
would be...
Oh my God, Himmler.
I mean,
Yeah.
from my study of history, it's not that Hitler was uniquely evil. It's that he's the one that took advantage of the situation.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
And if he wasn't there, probably somebody else would.
Yeah. But
That's sort of
would
my would be my view of humanity.
yeah, but do you think it would have been so catastrophic as it was?
Uh, yeah, yeah, I do.
Mm.
Uh, I think that what happened. I mean, if we're talking about the Holocaust, are we talking about the battles? I mean, that's two different
Well,
things.
no, but
Very different things.
there's also more than that, right? Like because there's the Holocaust, there's the battles, but there's also like him giving money to weird scientists and stuff, which is technically it is actually included in the Holocaust, where they would just do crazy experiments on
Yeah.
people and stuff like that. There's the whole thing about him being obsessed with the occult and like lots of our stories also come from that, right?
Yeah.
Things like Hellboy and stuff wouldn't exist without World War II.
I mean, in all honesty, it could have been worse. because Hitler made dumbass mistakes. In the bet he did a war on two fronts. You don't. I mean, Napoleon did that and lost because he fought a war on two fronts. He shouldn't have done that. Uh, I mean, it probably. I mean, in honesty, it probably wasn't his fault if the U.S. the Soviets and the Americans had a allied thing anyway. It probably would have been inevitable. It was probably a preemptive kind of thing. I'm not the historian in my family.
I am not either. I know people who will yell at me if we get this wrong. So
yeah,
right.
no, exactly. I
Right.
wanted to veer a little bit away from this because both of my parents are PhDs in history and European history. My dad taught a course on the Holocaust, so I cannot get anything wrong in this, so I'm gonna tap out a little bit.
You're like, I'm not gonna talk about this anymore because if I say something wrong, I'm in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah,
I'm getting a phone call, I'm getting a lecture. Yeah.
But I mean, it was I think the rise of what the lead up to World War II started when World War One ended. It has to do a lot with the way that the state of Germany after World War One
was punished. Yes,
it was punished, and I mean, as we can see by our current situation, when the economy is bad and people are out of work, they will find somebody to blame, and they will cast all blame on that person, and then it becomes angry and it becomes violent and it becomes awful. And I don't think I need to draw any parallels to things that are happening today directly.
No, I think we get it.
We could probably figure that out. But I mean that's those are the situations that led up to what was happening. So, and it was very dire there, as well as everything being destroyed from a World War 20 years previous. So yeah, the going back in time and getting rid of them thing, I don't think is gonna do much good.
It's just gonna be a different kind of problem and a different world war slightly. Yes, the dates might change, but and it's gonna be Himmler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is it. That's a real guy. So, or I don't know. I couldn't think of a German name fast enough. Other than like a guy I know, and I'm not going to be like, it was him.
People are just like, oh my God, it was you?
Yeah.
No.
Somebody just called you a Nazi on like a podcast. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do that at all. Yes.
Although, you know what? I'm going to call out somebody. I saw a fucking skinhead yesterday.
No.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I was pissed.
Yes.
Like walking down my street.
Just
not pleased.
No, I don't.
Black combat boots and white laces.
This makes me sad. Like it legitimately, like when you hear news like this, it just like releases all air out of my body, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna float away in the wind and just not be part of this anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No, it was one of those things. Like you seen that meme of like the guy and his girlfriend looking back, and there's like and the boyfriend's looking back, and there's like another girl, and he's like, ooh, that was sort of me on the street going, what the fuck?
And your girlfriend's just like, wait, attention to me. They're like, but did you see this? Are you
that guy's a Nazi?
I don't like any of it.
Yeah. I mean, if it helps, the guy looked like a wiener.
Okay. So you're like I could take him.
He was like $1.50. He looked like that dork on YouTube that reviews music, Anthony Fantolio or whatever. He looked like that dork.
Okay.
Like I could beat up that dude.
Yeah, we could take him. It'll be fine. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, that's just horrible. Just,
no good.
No good at all. I don't know.
Nazis are bad. I think that's what we should have come out of this part of the conversation, is that blanket statement, Nazis are bad.
Yeah, I think that's one of the few blanket statements you could just make places and people will agree with you. Just nod and smile. They're like, yes, this is correct. This is, what is it called? An axiom of our existence kind of thing. Yeah, it's just
that is a canon event as well. Nazis are bad.
I love that we can laugh about this now.
Yeah. We got through it.
We got through it.
We got. I actually the scene. I mean, like, there's a good chunk between battles that I think is actually like really solid. The scene where they're in the church. I think they're in a church in
Oh, where they're resting up.
yeah,
Yes,
is it
they're in a church.
Montmartre? I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly where they are.
where they meet up with Ted Danson.
Oh my
I
God. I
guess.
wrote a note that he looks amazing.
Right. Okay. So
Hubba hubba.
I know this movie came out a long time ago, 1998. And then I was like, oh, this was like 12 years ago. No, it was not 12 years ago. Much longer. And it hurts my heart to say so. Anyways, and I was just like, everybody looks so young and so fit.
Yeah.
What? What? And everybody, like, you recognize, like, all of the people that they pay attention to in this movie, you recognize their face. Whether
Mhm.
you remember what their name is or not, you recognize their face because they have been in stuff,
Mhm.
you know. Like Vin Diesel's there, Giovanni Ribisi, Ted Danson, Nathan Fillion, Tom Sizemore, of course, Matt Damon. I was like, who the fuck is Edward Burns? And I was like, oh, it's that guy. I just
Yeah.
never knew his name. Like
He's
there's
from
just
Brooklyn.
so many people are just like in there, and you're just like, oh, is this your big break? This was your big break, right? Got
Yeah.
it. Yes.
No, the cast is awesome, actually. Like I am actually not usually a person that's very like notices that kind of stuff. I think everyone does a real good job.
They
I think
do. Yeah.
people like I mean like I sort of joked about Ted Danson. He does a solid job, but he looks great. Like he looks so much like he looks like a Sergeant Rock comic book come to life. Like he's got this like he
Yeah.
looks like he's made of wood and
Yeah.
is just like a grizzled old soldier and he looks great.
And that's
Um
what he comes across as, and it's
yeah.
and like and at first when you first see him when they shoot like the guys over their head or whatever when like
Mhm.
that wall falls apart. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, what's his name? Oh my
Paul
God.
Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti. Yeah, he was great. I love bumbling Sergeant Paul Giamatti. And like he comes across so like he's like, I've seen everything. I don't fucking care anymore. Let's just go over here. We're like, okay,
Yeah.
go with
I
that
wrote
guy.
down how is Paul Giamatti just being Paul Giamatti? Like everybody is like pretty hardcore, like methody, and like Tom Hanks has like like an affliction, like he's got a tremor in his hand. He's like acting his ass off, and Paul Giamatti's like, "I'm Paul Giamatti. I'm coming. I'm gonna get you."
And for so the thing and the weird thing about it is that it doesn't stick out. Like it doesn't ruin the movie because
No.
you know these are just everybody in this movie is just guys thrown into the situation, you know.
Hmm.
And yeah, and it's this is like you were saying, this is one of those movies where nobody outacts or underacts. Like they're just correct. They're just good
Yeah.
in general. Yeah.
Not one mention of Vin Diesel's family beyond what we needed to, so that's nice.
Mhm.
Usually goes on and on, so
There's like 10 movies about it. It's
yeah, no,
fine.
there's so many movies about him going on about family. And he's like, I didn't get it out in Saving Private Ryan. I only mentioned my dad. But what about my whole family?
Also, that letter being transferred between what three people who end up dying.
Yeah.
That was hard. He's
Yeah.
like, "There's blood on it," and the one guy, Giovanni Ribisi, rewrites it in the dark.
Mhm.
Then he gets killed next. Then Tom Hanks gets, and then he dies at the end. And then Matt Damon, or sorry, Private Ryan, gets it and takes it home.
Right.
I'm assuming he took it home. I don't know.
He burned it.
He's just like, I don't want to see their face. Yeah.
This seems like it would be awkward.
Awkward. Yes.
I don't think I clued in that it was the same letter. But
Oh.
that is really good. I think you're right though. And that's a great detail actually. I
Yeah,
thought it was
it
just
is
like everybody has a letter. I
oh
thought it was
yeah.
just like everybody has their letter to send home.
Mhm.
But I think your way is probably better. Um,
God, I hope I'm
but
right. Yeah.
I was saying I really liked that scene because we were laughing about inappropriate things. I like that scene in the church because I think Giovanni Ribisi is like mad at it or whatever, but it's Tom Hanks and is it Tom Sizemore or is it them? I think just them like laughing about a person who probably is dead.
Mhm.
But just like, remember this guy when he did this? And they're all just like laughing their ass off. And I was like, I really liked that. I thought that was a really nice,
Oh yeah, no, it
quiet
ends,
moment.
but it ends with them saying, "Yeah, that guy's dead."
Yeah.
Yeah, he got shot on some. They mentioned like a battle, and because
Yeah.
like you don't realize because the other guys are like laughing really loud when he's just like, "Yeah, that guy's dead," and then all of a sudden they're like they quiet it down, but it's already too late. He's already said it,
Yeah.
and you're just like, "Oh, is this how you're getting through things?"
Yeah.
Okay, it's like
No, the like breaking of their like it's a lot of PTSD stuff.
hmm,
And like but like I really like that they still had a moment of some sort of comfort
yes,
with each
yeah.
other.
Well, because you have to find it or else you give up, right? Like you're
Mhm.
just like, what's the point of continuing this if you can't find joy in the world? Or if you think the rest of your life, I mean, this is dark. I shouldn't say the rest of your life because sometimes the rest of your life is 5 minutes from now. But if you think the
What?
rest
What do you plan on doing during the Scott Pilgrim half of the show?
I'll just talk to myself. I could talk about this thing all day, you know. Well, I mean, within the concept confines of the movie, some of these people,
Hmm.
the rest of their life was, 5 minutes later, whatever. And but like you're not going to continue if you think the rest of your life is just going to be this like dark, oppressive, battling for existence, right? So you have to have some kind of like, oh no, there's good things to live for. And I'm glad none of it was any kind of like dirty or rapey comments, which I'm always fearful of in war movies.
Yeah. I actually thought I have a note that everybody should be swearing so much more. Like
Yes.
there's a medic on the beach that screams, and I wrote this line down because I thought it was. I said everybody should be talking this way. I said he's screaming, "You son of a fucking cocksuckers!" And I'm like, that's how everyone should be talking the whole movie.
Hey, first of all, that was Giovanni Ribisi.
That was
But
Giovanni Ribisi.
yeah, but that was because three of them were working on this guy who was bleeding out, and they finally got the blood the bleeding to stop, and then he got shot in the top of the head.
Yeah,
So he was just dead now. And he's like, I just wasted all this fucking shit and you died. Fucking, yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah. There was
But
a,
that's how everyone should be talking throughout that whole scene.
yeah.
Because that's how I would be doing. I'd be just
Yeah.
screaming epithets at people I can't see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they actually say that swearing produces a small amount of, what's the hormone that stops
Dopamine.
pain? Is it dopamine?
Oh, adrenaline.
Not adrenaline. I don't know. But there's actually like a benefit to swearing when like you stub your toe. So I'm guessing a gunshot wound would work as well. Just
Mm-hmm.
swear constantly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I've been watching Deadwood,
mhm.
which is just like a swearing cornucopia. Like it is just the most brilliant scripts with the most swears I've ever heard in a movie or a TV show.
In a
Uh,
clever
so
way or just dropping a fuck in
it's
somewhere.
written in an iambic pentameter.
Oh, that's right. It's written like a poetry, like
Yeah,
Shakespeare. That's
it's written
correct.
like Shakespeare. Like it's incredibly over my head clever
Okay.
in what it's in its writing style.
Yeah.
So I wanted that. I wanted just like everyone to be like these fucking German kraut pieces of shit motherfuckers. Like that's what I wanted. If this is a realistic war movie, they shouldn't be talking like gee golly gosh uh over at the malt shop. These
Yeah.
guys should be like, these guys are broken and
Mhm.
they should be talking like yeah, like it's a weird thing. Like I think the movie struggles with its like not sure how idyllic to make these people.
Mhm. That's true. Like now that you mentioned it, I as it's a war movie, I think I just assumed there was swearing in it. And
Yeah.
while watching it, because it's a war movie, I assumed I heard swearing. That wasn't it's not considered to be gratuitous in a war movie for me. So now that you say I'm like, oh really there really wasn't swearing in this movie. This is
There's
throwing
some,
me off a little bit. Like,
but
yeah,
it's
there's
not a
like
ton.
yeah, there's a lot less than you would think. Because like if you watch like Full Metal Jacket and stuff,
Yeah.
Tons of swear.
Hmm.
Tons of swear, you know. There's a lot of action movies that just they're just like filtered in there and you're just like, why can't you say a sentence without an F word or an N word or whatever?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you're right. It is interesting.
Yeah. It's but I think it's a way of I think it would be off-putting and not and possibly disrespectful to that generation of people, right? But since it's the movie sort of does that in a different way in different lights, it's I guess that's sort of the balance it's striking. Where like, oh, these people we thought were good maybe aren't the best.
Mhm.
So I guess maybe if their language was awful the whole time, we wouldn't think that they were really great people to begin with.
Well, one thing, so my mom has a real hard time watching anything that's got swearing in it, right? She could put up with like a bitch or an ass every once in a while, but like if you drop a like a
All these
fuck,
bitch asses over here.
right? But if you drop like a fuck in there more than twice, she's like, I'm not watching this anymore. She's out. And I remember talking to her this once, like, because I was like, what movie was I trying to watch with her? It was like a really good movie, and I was like, this is just how people talk. And it wasn't like excessive swearing, like because like I said, when I see it think it's excessive, even I'm just like tuned out of it. But it wasn't excessive swearing, it was just very, you know, passive conversation with a couple of F-bombs in it,
Mhm.
but
It
not
was Pulp Fiction. You're watching
continuous.
Pulp Fiction with your mom.
There is no way I would ever show her that movie. Oh my God. She would just be like, you are not my child anymore if you like this. Get out of my house. It'd be done.
Shh, the gimp is waking up.
Oh, I remember what it was. No, it wasn't even that. I remember what it was. I wasn't home, and my mother's like, I'm going to watch a movie. And she picked up a box that had a pretty flower on the front of it. The movie is called Magnolia. Um, and one of the opening scenes is Tom Cruise's opening scene where he says the C word 20 times in a row, essentially. And she was like livid. She's like, why do you have this filth in my house? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what are you? It's such a good movie. Even though on the rewatch, I was like, whatever. Um, but she was like, and I was like, I don't understand what your problem is with swearing. Like, even like I understood that movie because yes, it was a little excessive. But like, what is your deal with swearing? Like, people swear. Like, that's just how life is. And she was like, when I was growing up, which was in the 50s and 60s, only bad people swore, right? This is a long way to get to this, I know.
Mhm.
Um, but and I think that is probably where Steven Spielberg is coming from and the people who have an idea about that generation are coming from
Yeah.
because they're not the bad people, they shouldn't be swearing like that. Like, yes, even the best man will break every once in a while and drop a swear or two. But like they're not going to be continuously in a conversation just swearing up and down because they're not the bad people, they're the good guys, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Wait till I mean, she didn't even get to the second VHS tape on that one, so
she definitely did
I
not.
think that one
Did
is that one
not.
was also a two VHS, right? I think Magnolia was.
I It probably was.
Yeah.
Again, I bought the DVDs for that one. It was okay.
There has to be a list online because I'm sure that this isn't just a thing that I remember. There has to be like somebody's like, I'm gonna list all the double VHS tapes. Gone with the Wind. Uh
Oh, that definitely would have
that
been
definitely
right.
is one. Also, probably should have just been one. That second half of that movie sucks.
That's right. Some movies were sold with two cassettes, including Gone with the Wind, Lawrence of Arabia, The Great Escape, The Sound of Music, The Godfather, Nashville, Scarface, JFK, Malcolm X, and Titanic.
Yeah, okay. I should have remembered Malcolm X.
I don't think that's all of them. There's
No, it's
actually
not.
there's actually like a Reddit thing. Who remembers double VHS tapes?
We're so fucking old.
Oh, there's also hold on. There's a tribute to two cassette VHS films.
Nice.
Let's see. Is there like oh no? I think this is the same list that I just went through because they're listing the best ones, and I think yeah, those were probably the best ones.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is how it's 26 years old.
Yes.
So like, there's like full-fledged adults that were conceived after this movie was made.
Yes.
So, yes, us having a conversation about the format that was dying out when this movie was being made. It is funny to me that an adult person will just go, I have no idea what a VHS tape is.
Yeah, it drives me. It just so the classic meme with the scene at the end of the movie where he's like looking over and it's young Matt Damon and he turns into the old guy.
Mhm.
When they say shit like that, that's what happens to me every time. I'm just like, I'm gonna walk away. I can't. This is not a thing I want to be a part of unless you want to see me tear up and pray for your future.
Mhm.
Yeah. And the other thing that gets me is when people, I don't care how old you are, if somebody tells you about a show, it's fine if you haven't seen it, but don't say, why would I have watched it? It came out before I was born. That is not an acceptable response. I don't
Yeah.
care. Be like,
I
oh
mean,
no, I haven't seen it. That's fine.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's sort of my excuse for not having seen this for a while.
Mhm.
Because this movie came out when I was 10.
That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm not rushing out to see that. You know, fifth grade means like one for Saving Private Ryan, please.
But like,
And
did
I'd
you
have to
bring an
say it in
adult with
French.
you?
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Well, that's how my brother saw Pulp Fiction. He saw it with my mom when he was 13.
Yes. Oh yes, I
Um,
remember this
yeah,
story.
well, I
Yeah.
told that story. She did not appreciate it.
Yeah.
She did not
No.
like the gimp waking up. The gimp's supposed to be sleeping.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so and then it's been a blind spot for a really long time. It's sort of been my deepest one. I think that is the one that is the most shocking that I haven't seen.
I have two that is the most shocking for most people. But like, you're a movie person. Why haven't you seen these? And one is the Godfather movies.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is Casablanca. Casablanca,
Okay.
I've literally just never gotten around to it. There's no reason, rhyme
Yeah.
or reason about it. The Godfather movies, I just have literally no interest in watching them. I'm
You
also
know,
not a fan, like with war movies. I am not a fan of gangster movies.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that as I've gotten older, I've appreciated I mean, I think specifically Martin Scorsese gangster movies because that's really all there is,
Mhm.
besides The Godfather. Um, but I've appreciated them more because I see kind of more nuance to them.
Mhm.
Uh, Godfather, I think Godfather 1 is really good.
That's what
Uh,
everybody says. They're like, Godfather
yeah,
3 is garbage. You should
I
watch the
have
first one at least.
I have not seen Godfather 3. I think
Okay.
that's probably my blind spot now because I
Okay.
have not seen Godfather 3. You know, the one with Sophia in it that no one likes.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh. Um, Casablanca you could probably bump off in an afternoon. Like that's not a
Mhm.
difficult one, and
Yeah.
it's like relatively like not a bummer. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Like
I
it's
said,
yeah,
Casablanca is not for any particular reason. Like I don't
yeah, no,
I don't think it's gonna be a bummer. I know what the story is, blah blah blah. And it's just, do I want to rent this? No. Is it on a lot of streaming services? No. Did I have TCM? Is it on TCM today? No. I haven't watched it. Just haven't gone around to it yet.
there is moments of brilliance in The Godfather. It is long though. Like
Yeah.
it is that what I understand is like I don't think I want to wade into this pool at the moment. Like I get that
Yeah.
feeling. That one's good. I mean, that's probably why I haven't seen. I mean, I think, speaking of watching this in multiple sittings, because you said that you did. When I was like a teenager and like doing movie stuff for the first time, I think I tried to watch The Godfather like 5 times and just kept falling asleep.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, in like the middle of the afternoon, like I'd come home from school and be like, all right, I'm gonna watch The Godfather. And I'm like, I think this is good. I'm an idiot. I'm 15. I don't know anything about this. Um, and I just kept nodding off because it's slow and long. Um, there's some pretty cool stuff in it, especially around like I studied like the sound design of it and like the editing of it. And those are cool. But there's some good stuff. It's definitely worth it. I mean, I'm not gonna be like the dudes like you have to see The Godfather. It's the Cadillac of movies. Um,
Don't be
but
that guy. Yeah.
yeah, or it's the Godfather of movies. That's what the anyway. Um, but yeah, no, it's I mean I like those ones, but yeah, it is something that's just like I get why you haven't. Like it's such a huge task. It's
Yeah.
9 hours of movies
It's a commitment. And the last time I did that, I was real mad about it. So
and dense. Like they're
yeah.
dense movies too. Like it's not just like oh, it's like the you could watch the Avengers because those are 3 hours and like, but it's Ant-Man running around. Like that's fun. Like
Exactly.
this is like oh no, what's that other family going to do when they find out that Sonny killed that guy? Like
Yes. As they're having dinner or
yeah.
something. Yeah. And there was some article about like oranges, and every time you see oranges, that means somebody's gonna die or something.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know one orange thing. I don't know the other orange things.
Okay. I don't know.
Uh,
These are just things I have picked up along the way of a
yeah.
movie I have never watched. It's fine.
Godfather 2 is, I don't think as good. The stuff that's in the past in Godfather 2 is really good. Like the Robert De Niro stuff in Godfather 2. Thumbs up. But I don't like the Vegas stuff because like the present day stuff feels a little too modern.
Oh, yeah, so it kind of throws you out of it. Like
Yeah.
this is supposed to be back in the day, but it feels like
Well,
right
it's
now.
just, it feels like, have you seen Casino?
No. I know
So
of Casino.
yeah,
And
where like a lot of Godfather 2 in the present day takes place in Vegas, and Vegas just feels kind of gross because it's
yes.
like very glammy, but also run by the mob and violent.
It's seedy,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, seedy. So it has all that high class seediness stuff, which I don't really love considering like and like the original Godfather's like takes place in the 50s and 60s in New York City. So it's got like a certain feel to it and Las Vegas in the 60s and 70s doesn't have that same feeling. So I guess that's sort of my memory of it at least. I haven't seen it in a
Okay.
while.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see myself anytime soon watching it. So
That's
I'm
probably
I'm
fair.
okay. I'll
Yeah.
I'll be fine, I think. I'll just maybe it's gonna turn into one of those The Wire things where I literally haven't watched that show now because I'm like, look, if I can get through 1 year without somebody telling me to watch The Wire, I'll probably get around to watching it. But if people keep telling me to watch it, I'm never gonna watch it. And it's fine. Just
I think
fine.
my mom
It's for
watched it.
spite.
I think my mom watched it. Speaking of moms dealing with swearing, it's
Yeah.
like my mom watched The Wire, so good on
What
her.
one of my mom's favorite movies is Die Hard. There's a shit ton of swearing in it. So, I mean, I get it. She's
His
like
catchphrase is a swear.
the thing is, most of the time she never saw it in like the theater or anything. And when she originally saw it, it was on like WB or something. So everything was like cut out, dubbed, whatever. And
Yippee-ki-yay,
then
Mr. Falcon.
yeah, and then I
Mhm.
bought the DVDs and we watched it one Christmas, and she was just like, "There's swearing in this?" I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Oh." And then she watched the rest of the movie, clearly enjoying it, but had this very serious like look on her face every time the swear was dropped. She's like, "Oh," and then a guy gets shot in the face, and she's fine with the shot in the face, but it's
I want
fine.
more movies to have that as a dub option. Like if you buy the physical copy, you should have access to the TBS edited version of the movie.
Yes, yes. So like
Like it's
for
it's not that hard to program. Come on,
yeah.
guys.
See, this is the parental setting, which
Yeah,
is very different than the usual parental setting. But yes, parents are watching. Watch this one because of
yeah,
all the sex scenes, no swearing, nothing too dubious,
yeah,
just great fun. You know?
yeah. I mean, this is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps version.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Um, yeah, I think we're done talking about Saving Private Ryan because
I,
it
I actually
really
I had
is a
one more
downer.
topic about it.
Sure, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Because I mean, I actually really like the very end, the when it goes back and it's Matt Damon turns into the old man like me on the
Hmm.
internet now.
Yeah.
Um, and he kind of breaks down a little bit, and he says, "Tell what did he, I wrote it down.
Tell
Tell
me
me I
I'm a
lived a
good
good
man.
life. Tell me I'm a good man."
Hmm.
That is very heartbreaking. And I think what it's sort of, and the fact that his family is there too, I think is important because it shows it's like the end of Schindler's List, where it's like, oh no, 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 he didn't just save that one guy. You save everybody that comes from him afterwards.
Yes. Yes.
So they didn't just save the one guy, they saved all the family that's standing behind him too, or else they wouldn't exist. Um, so I guess sort of like the topic would be like, did they do the right thing?
I mean, well, they often say, um, what is it? Like you shouldn't sacrifice the one life. Like the one life is important,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I think this is what this movie is illustrating. Like, no, this the one life is important because if you don't save the one life, you know, shit can go to hell. Like, then what's the point of doing all this if you can't save the one life? And like, I mean, I get it. I do understand it. But at the same time, it is heartbreaking that he's like, I hope I lived a good life and stuff because he's trying to understand if he was worth saving.
Mm-hmm.
And but at the same time, I felt like that was one of those like writer's room. Like we got to end strong. What's a good line? What's a good line? Let's make people cry. Like
Mm-hmm.
lines. Like it just came out like the whole movie is Oscar bait. I get it. But that came across as the like the stamp at the end, you know, seal of approval kind of intense conversation about it where everything else in the movie like even the opening because you see them in the I guess it's Arlington Cemetery,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
um and they're walking through and the kids are behind him and they're like, where's that going? And she's like, oh, he's looking for someone specific. And he's just like ahead of everybody, like trying to race ahead and stuff. And like they're just confused. They're like, I don't understand why this is so important. And then it comes back around at the end. They're like, this is why it's so important. We have to throw in this last line. And that's how it came across to me. I'm not saying it's a bad line or it's wrong or asking if you're worth it is proper to do at this point. I don't know, but it just came across as extra,
Yeah.
I guess, to
Well, I
me,
mean,
that is.
they constantly talk in the movie about the math of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're sending 8 guys to save one guy. How many of those are going to die along the way?
And what, five of them died? And then
Right.
everybody else on the bridge, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, like tons of people die. Actually, I really like the getting ready stuff. The like it's sort of like Seven Samurai, where it's like they're all like, oh, they're gonna come. We got to set up, and we're gonna set all these traps and have a plan. I like that. I like that
Hmm.
stuff. Um, but uh, but yeah, I mean, you said like he probably shouldn't have stayed back. Like he
Yeah.
probably should have just left before that happened. Part of me wonders like if they didn't go save him, would he have gotten back anyway?
I don't think they would have because they did not have a plan.
Right.
Their plan was to sit on the bridge and shoot people and then blow up the bridge. That was their
Right.
plan, not to maybe stop them from getting to the bridge or reduce their numbers to a point that when they got to the bridge, maybe they won't be as much of an issue. So I don't think he would have survived if they didn't show up. But at the same time, like I understand his feelings of duty and wanting to do his part, which he had been doing up to that point. But at the same time, it's like you have to realize you're not the only one leaving people behind if you go with them,
Mhm.
right? They have to make a strategic plan and to get the job done. And their job is to get you out of there and then survive getting back to wherever they need to get back to get him out of there. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not like again getting on the bus and taking the bus back home. It's again going through battlefields and tracking things down. And there was still no guarantee he was going to make it back to whatever plane they were going to put him on.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah. I mean, they're doing stuff along the way too. Like they don't see it as just a rescue mission. I mean, Tom Hanks doesn't see it as just a rescue mission. He's like, we're gonna do stuff like that we can to help. the
Hmm.
effort as we go. So I guess that, I mean, that part of it makes sense as well, that like these guys didn't die just to save that guy. They died, getting that machine gunner, that
Yeah.
turret, and protecting the bridge and then destroying the bridge and all that kind of stuff. So I guess it feels less pointless or less nihilistic in that way, is that
Yeah.
it did end up being the right thing. But no, it I think it poses an interesting question.
It does. It,
As
it
a
really
movie.
does. Now that you brought up the bridge again, sorry.
Yeah,
I did have one
The
other
Bridge of
question.
Spies,
I did
another
have
Tom Hanks movie in the 50s and 60s.
you're just gonna remember them as we go along. Oh,
Yeah.
this one. Yeah. So at the end of the movie, the battle looks almost lost, but they're on the other side of the bridge. They've already blown part of it up. And but like a bomb went off by Tom Hanks and he was all like dizzy and out of it, but otherwise he was like physically okay. He probably had like a concussion or something. And they're like drag it. They one of the guys risked their life, dragged him to where they were and were about to blow up the other side. And for some reason he got up and was like, I have to get that thing over there.
I think it was the detonator.
Was that the detonator?
I think it was the detonator. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then it makes sense now because I was like, I don't know what he's going for. Didn't they, or doesn't the other guy have I thought the other guy had the
I
detonator.
think that was the thing, and it got blown over there, I think.
Okay.
Because I saw him wiring it around that spool thingy, and I think
Yeah,
that
because
that's what that machine was.
but they blew up one side already, and I thought that's the one
Hmm.
that
I don't
he
remember. I
was like
couldn't really figure out
stealing.
the bridge stuff.
Yeah, it seemed a little extra chaotic. Um, yeah, I don't know. But
Well,
I
I
was
mean,
just
it's
confused as to why he was like trying to go back out there, and that's when he got
yeah,
shot. And then he didn't get to the thing, and nobody seemed to care about the thing. And then the planes came over and like saved
yeah.
them or whatever.
There's a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina there too, right? Where the with the Air Force coming in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, my inclination was that it was the detonator. But I mean, it was also like it also says like, man, so many people died for a bridge, and the bridge is only strategic because of supply lines.
Yes. Yeah. Which are a necessity.
And oh no, totally. And
Mhm.
like I understand that, but like if you think about that, it's like what, like what is it? Like it's less than it's like what, 50 feet bridge?
Yeah.
Like it's not a big bridge. It's not like the bridge over the River Kwai where it's like this giant thing.
Hmm.
It's no, it's just like it's just a hop over a little thing, and we have a half-hour battle over it, and tons of the people we like die, and the translator loses his soul by executing somebody with his hands up.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Lots of stuff happened for just a bit of brick.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why they have like special vehicles now that make little bridges like that.
Right.
They drive around and a bridge appears and then everything goes over and then I
Yeah.
actually don't know how the bridge vehicle gets to the other side though. Does the bridge vehicle just stay on that
I
side?
honestly, I in my head, I'm imagining that Batmobile thing where it like builds a ramp in front of itself and then it shoots off. So like I don't really know, or the video game Lemmings, where one of the lemmings is able to like make a bridge as he goes across. So my brain is not
Yes. Okay.
the taut military mind that you may think.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
So
Now I
I
gotta
do not know.
now I gotta like do research on bridge tanks. Is that what they'd be? I believe
You know who would know this? Sean. Sean should be here too.
I know. Yeah, that is what they're called.
Yeah.
Armored vehicle bridge launchers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds super cool.
Yeah, they look like a big rig and like the rig on the back just unfolds into a bridge.
That's cool.
So I guess yeah, it does stay on the other side. Mm,
Okay.
cool.
That sounds I mean, I don't know how many bridges do they have to use now. I guess there aren't that many. Feel like we only have desert wars now, so
That's true. You don't need a bridge for that.
yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you'll come across an oasis and be like, "How do I get around?" Yeah. That's
It
that's
was a
all I got.
mirage.
No,
We brought this bridge making robot the whole way.
we're nothing. Uh, Yeah, I mean, but at least that solves that problem.
Yeah. No
So
more bridge battles.
exactly. Next battle will be in space with Space Force. It'll be fine. There was a space. There was
I'm
a
gonna be
space.
so fucking bummed when he comes back. Oh my god.
We're not even going to start that. I'm talking. Oh, you're talking about the TV show, right? It's been
That's right.
renewed for a
Yeah, no,
third
I hated
season.
that
Yeah,
show, and I'm like,
great.
yeah. I was like, just make him do The Office again.
Go back to the office, Steve Carell. Do
Yeah.
it.
Ugh,
Yeah.
Space
Anyways,
Force.
I mean, if you think about it, Star Trek, really,
Yeah.
and I love Star
Mhm.
Trek, so or even Star Wars, they're pretty lame names in general.
Yeah.
We just got
Yeah.
used to them. But
Yeah.
yeah, gotta say, Space Force. There was a
Yeah.
Japanese Space Force question that nobody got. They're like, the fuck wants to be part of something that happened in, well, what is it, like 2017 or something was the first enlisted officer? And they're just like, I don't know what that is. They're like, Space Force. All
Because
right.
it's dumb.
Until we have a
Like,
space armada.
have you seen like any real like movie that's at least a little bit realistic about space? Like you can't do shit up there. Like there's nothing like there's no gravity. Everything is death. Like there's nothing like
Yeah, the best
even
of
in Star Trek, there are characters that are like, I don't want to go into space. It's scary.
it's true. They do. I mean, I find the best depiction of possible quote unquote warfare in space is in The Expanse,
Yeah, the show
where
rules.
it's still like what 200 years in the future, and there's still like I guess we're just floating around in this thing and wearing magnets on our shoes to walk around, but it
Yeah,
takes
we still
it still
have
takes
fucking
like
magnets on our shoes.
six years to get to like one end of like to Neptune or whatever it is. You're like, sure,
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
Hmm.
it's about
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
because we're not meant to go up there. That is not where we are from.
We
And
don't belong there.
we don't belong there.
Yes.
There is nothing for us.
Except aliens. There's got to be aliens out there.
I mean, probably, but they're
Yeah.
really far away.
Yeah. And even
And
there,
what if they're just like us? That would suck.
we get somewhere and we're just like, why do you look like me? What the shit is
Yeah.
this? I don't like
Why
any
are
of
you
this.
guys also dicks?
Oh my
It was
god.
like, yeah, they're super aggressive aliens, so we'll blast them out of the sky before they have a chance to do anything. It's like, wait, it's not the same. Aren't we doing the same thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
you
since
said
we're
Space
laughing,
Force. That one's on you.
that one is definitely on me. I get it. I get it. Well, since we're in a good mood all of a sudden,
Yeah.
let's talk about something positive, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Hmm.
Ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, I like this movie. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, me too. End of podcast.
Done. Off you go. Uh, I like also the fact that it's a movie that takes place in Toronto. It's filmed in Toronto, and I recognize the places they go in Toronto, even though half of them don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So I watched this with my girlfriend last night, and there was several times where we were watching, like, is that Pizza still there?
The pizza's still there.
The
Yes.
Pizza is still there, but they
Yeah.
changed the facade and they don't have the tiles on the outside anymore. And I'm like, well, they
No, I
just
don't
made
think
it
so.
worse, and I don't even like Pizza to begin with.
The poor
Like you took the
ambiance is
only
gone.
good part.
Yeah, you took the good part of the place away. The second cup his sister works at, gone. Well, of course, Sneaky D's is still there and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Is
Um,
there stuff at Sneaky D's in the movie?
yes.
Oh, wait.
There's just like one scene.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that one. I know that I think in the comic book he worked at Sneaky D's for a while.
Maybe. I was supposed to read the comic, at least one issue of the comic book before I did this, but I did not.
Yeah, I couldn't remember much of it at all. I mean, I read it like when the movie came out. Like I read it, I mean, like around when the movie came out. So it would have been like 2009, 2010 I read that book. So I don't remember
Yes.
the specifics.
Yeah, because like I read them, I was in the middle of reading them, and then the movie was announced. And then they said they will not release the last book until the movie came out. I was so
Right.
pissed about it because I wanted to be one of those assholes, be like, well, I knew the ending before you did. Couldn't do that.
And the ending's
And
quite different too.
the ending is quite different. But I mean, it's the same premise,
Yeah.
essentially. But like, for example, the book takes place at least over a year because they go
Yeah.
through the full spectrum of seasons and all that kind of stuff. Whereas this book, if you go by the timeline of her hair changing, which changes 3 times, and she changes it once every week and a half, it takes place over 4.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a lot to go through in 4.5 weeks, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
I think that is sort of the problem with the movie. I think things happen. It's too condensed, I think.
and the problem, because it's so condensed, Ramona has no personality.
Oh.
And you're like, I don't understand why you're fighting for this person who has no personality. Like, I like what you're doing. All this stuff's cool. But at the same time, I'm like, but she seems really boring and aloof. So
Mhm.
what are we going
Well,
for?
I mean, the aloof thing, I get it. I'm like, yeah, I see where that's girl that wants no part of any of this. I could see the appeal. I'm
You're
like,
like,
yeah, I
this is
get
what I
that.
want. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, not what I want, what I'm drawn to.
Yes. Got
What's
it.
very bad for me. I get that. At least I used to. Now in
Mm-hmm.
a happy relationship and not,
Oh,
yeah, not having to, go after girls that are going to hurt me. um,
did you have
but
to battle any evil ex-boyfriends?
no, I did not.
Lucky. Good
Because
job.
I have the power of self-respect. I mean, this is sort of a movie that I think this movie's kind of interpreted wrong by a lot of people, or at
What do
least
you
the
mean?
story is. Like, I don't think it's really meant to be taken as literally as people take it.
Oh no, it's not.
Yeah.
No. No. I remember, so when this movie came out, I watched it and I loved it immediately and I was way too excited about it. And I was just like, I was talking at work about it and I was like, this is cool and that's cool and this happens and this scene's right out of the book and blah blah blah. And this older woman who was, I believe she was an accountant. She was just like, I guess it was fine, but I just don't get it. Like, what is it about? And it was like asking someone to describe a word like irony. And you know what it means, but you can't explain it. And I was just like, it's about, like, I know, but I don't know how to tell you. And like watching it this time, I was like, how did I not know how to explain this movie? It's just about a guy battling a girl's past, literally, even though in life it's usually figuratively, so that he can win her over and also become a better person. That's it. Like, no, we don't. Like, people always have a past that you have to deal with when you're new in their life. You don't understand why somebody does things a certain way and whatever, but you learn about them, you find about them, and then you work with it, or you have to fight it and destroy the wall they put up. You got to break it down so then you could be with that true person. And that's
Yeah.
what this movie's about. But they just visually show it as actual fighting compared to, usually it's a lot of like, it's like a lot of talking and like emotions and chemicals.
Yeah.
But that's it. Yeah.
Well, like you own Chasing Amy, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And I think you've already done it on the podcast, if I recall.
I have, yes.
And I mean, that's a movie about his insecurities, right?
Mhm.
I sort of see this the same way, where he feels insecure about her past, and he feels that he needs to fight these things and be better than all them. Which is it's a very juvenile thing.
I think it's supposed to be because
Yeah.
it's supposed to show that he's in this, um to quote another show, Arrested Development, where he's
I
not
don't
growing
think
up.
anybody in this movie has seen that show.
Where so he's like stuck in a certain phase of his life that he is refusing to get out of, which is a somewhat childish phase. Like, it's I mean, he's like his girlfriend, he's stuck as like a 15-year-old or 16-year-old. And that's why he thinks it's okay to date her. And it's not dating her isn't wrong. It's just not right. Um,
Yeah, the movie does get to that very quickly. And addresses that very quickly, which I think a lot of people sort of bring up like, hey, you guys know that like Scott's not a great guy, right? And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I think I knew that.
Like it's
But
there, they show it.
this movie is immediately like, wait, you're dating a high schooler? Dude, what? And then they also like, even before we see anybody else, he's just like, yeah, we held hands once, I think. Like it was like really getting close. It was like nothing has happened.
Yeah, they have to clarify that. They're like, no, we're not doing anything.
No.
But she's obsessed with me, and I let her be obsessed with me. That's it. Yeah.
Well, she strokes his ego.
Yeah.
I mean, she worships him, as you said.
And like he said, it was easy, and that's what he wanted, because his last relationship was too complicated. So that's what he was going for, and that's what he found, and that's what he wanted.
Well, his last relationship ended because he wasn't important enough.
I think it was. I don't think it's just that he wasn't important enough. I think it was just that he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
He wasn't changing or moving forward, and for relationships to work, you have to change.
Yeah.
You have to move forward together and make a choice together, and he wasn't doing that. He was sitting there not doing anything, and she was like, I'm doing this big thing, I'm gonna go.
Right. Yeah, but I mean you're right, he's a bum. 100%, and she was right to leave him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I think that he sees it as she got big and then I wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that pain on his ego would have been eased by just somebody being a fan of him.
Yeah, and which is what he was looking for with his own band as well. Yeah.
No. But it's that's definitely something that's a bit of a hurdle when you're watching it. It's sort of just like, oh, this guy that I'm kind of laughing at, kind of a groomer, maybe. Like we're possibly a groomer. I don't believe that he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
I think it sort of fell into this thing. I mean, also when she starts telling the story of how they met, and she goes, I was on the bus with my mom. And it's just like, oof.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's like, oh boy. And like there's a lot of jokes about it being inappropriate. Because like when Wallace is like when they're creeping outside her high school, waiting for her to come out. And he goes like, this girl you're dating, he goes, I wouldn't call it dating. And he goes, what would you call it? Playtime? And he goes, oh, that doesn't sound that good either.
It's true. Yeah. But at least they do show that everything they do is innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as soon as he meets Ramona, you're like, oh, this is where it's different, because they have a conversation outside, whatever, but as soon as they get back to his place, it's get it all on time.
Yeah.
Whereas with her, it's just like, no, we just kind of hang out and she goes home.
Yep.
Done.
Oh no, he specifically does not invite her inside. He's like, that is a no girl zone. Which in my head I was like, I lived in one of those for a while too.
I mean, you weren't trying to, but whatever.
No.
Yeah. I just really like this movie.
I do too. I liked it. I was I think I'm in the same boat. I mean, I was 22 when this movie came out. As you can see by my my Zoom handle today, I am the resident indie sad boy.
Yeah.
So obviously I see a lot of things in this movie. It sort of reminded me a lot about High Fidelity, because we've already talked about that together.
Yeah.
Where it is a definitely flawed protagonist. This one's a little more oblivious to his own flaws.
Yeah, he
than
thinks, though he's self-conscious, he thinks he's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I like a lot of the movie. I think that as I've gotten older, I think I like the fight scenes less.
Mhm.
I find them to be a little bit of a drag in some places, especially like the Roxy fight. I did not like the Roxy fight this time around at
It
all.
went a little too long.
Yeah.
Um, but I actually don't mind the fights in this because I don't find they're overly dragged out.
Yeah.
Um, like, yeah, we got a Bollywood dance sequence with Mr. Patel.
Little
Um,
cringe, as the kids say.
oh,
I'm
yeah.
doing the reverse Matt Damon gif now.
And I'm young again. Uh,
No
uh,
cap.
I don't, you know what? Now I'm the regular Matt Damon gif. Thanks. It's fine. I really do love the Brendan Roth sequence. It is long,
Mhm.
and you learn very quickly to hate him because, like, when he hits knives,
Mhm.
it still
Knocks the highlight
really
out of her
bothers
hairs.
me. It
Yeah.
really bothers me. And like I know it's supposed to show that he's a dick, but also it makes me think, is he abusing Nat as well? Like, because they're in a relationship, like, is that how he keeps control? And because it goes from like if you can just if somebody says something you don't like and your first thing to do is get up and hit them, I worry about everybody that you know. That's automatically what I think of.
Yeah.
So it like when he hits her, I'm just like, oh, all of your friends are scared of you. Okay. And they're friends because they're afraid you're gonna retaliate, aren't they?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I read that hard into it because like people hit people all the time in this movie. But yeah, no, it does feel a little bit differently when he hits knives because it does feel out of the blue and weird.
Yes. Yeah. And
And
like
people do
watch.
kind of go like, Jesus. Like
Yeah.
people react to it really strongly too.
Everybody does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's super off-putting. I love the Lucas Lee scene. I don't know, I think
Yeah.
it's great. Everything about it can stay. And I just gotta say, I got a soft spot for Jason Schwartzman. So whenever he shows up, I'm like, cool. Just
Yeah.
whatever. You can be like the favorite character or you can be the villain. Like in this one, he just does it well. And it's good.
Yeah, I like him in the Wes Andersons. I'm a big I mean I don't know if we've talked about that I'm a Wes Anderson sad boy too.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
and but yeah, so he shows up in most Wes Anderson movies and he's always great in those. And he has a very specific I think he has a very specific line that he walks in a
Yes.
movie, like when he's doing a role. Because I don't know how much he's able to go outside of those lines that he has set already.
Yeah.
But him staying within his own lane, very solid.
Yes, exactly. Like, because I had seen him in a few movies, and I remember the first time I was like, you know what, this guy, I think if I met him, we'd be friends. I was watching, this is gonna age me a little bit. I was watching fashion television. I know that's not where this is not where you thought the story was gonna go. And
Oh,
they
I
were
have that written down. When do we talk about fashion television?
and they were doing a thing on a Rodarte fashion show, and he happened to be in the audience, and they got an interview with him, and they asked what he gleaned from the fashion show, and he was just like, gleaned, it's like 10 in the morning. I was not expecting a word like this to be thrown my way. And I was like, I like this guy. I like this guy. He would be my friend. I could do this. And yeah, from that point on, I'm like, everything I see him in, I'm like, yay, he's here.
Well, I think he's like age appropriate for Rushmore, right? Like he was like
Yes.
14 or something in it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and so which is kind of crazy to think about. That's one of my favorite movies.
Mhm.
So it's weird that like, oh, he's sort of like a child actor that like didn't get super weird.
I think because he was already kind of weird.
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
already like kind of a dork and just sort of kept doing hipster dork stuff.
Yeah. Well, he's part of the Scorsese clan. So
Oh, right. I forgot
yeah.
that he is a
He's what, the nephew?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So I mean they're just sprinkled around places and you're
Yeah.
like, you're amazing. How did you even get here? And you're like, oh, like you
Uh,
deserve it, but probably nepotism, but it's fine.
I was conceived when The Godfather came out. It's like, oh.
That was a lot of information, but
Yeah.
we'll go with it. Thank you. But yeah, no, I enjoy what's his name in this? Gideon
Gideon Graves.
Graves. Yes, I enjoy Gideon Graves because he's just so he's like cocky in a slightly fun way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Well,
know.
he's like cheeky. He's like, like he's got like a little sass to him, which I think
Yeah,
is a fun little accent
it is.
on it. And I love your like sex bob thing. It's like he's got like this weird disingenuous kind of affectation to him.
Yeah.
That he's like smarmy, but in like a like uh he's sort of like uh Ellis in Die Hard.
Oh my God, yes. Like that guy is greasy. He probably smells really weird, but you gotta have him
He
around.
doesn't
He's
know he smells
entertaining.
weird because his nose doesn't work.
Why is his nose bleeding all the time? He's like, don't worry about it. Just let him go. Just let him go. Yeah. When Ellis dies, still haunts me. I'm like,
Really?
I know you thought you were doing something good, but now you got shot in the face.
I don't know, but he did say Hans Bubby, which is one of the greatest lines ever.
Hans, Bobby. You're like, oh, great.
It's he's in the he's in the history books, right? Like
Yes.
he's like, I'm gonna say the great one of the greatest lines in cinema history,
Yeah, I
and
find
then drop the mic.
yeah, and then be out,
Yeah.
literally. Yeah, he's one of those like on screen for 5 minutes, but like steals a lot of the show, you know. And this is kind of hard to do across from Alan Rickman, but he does it. Like he
Mhm.
does it, so it works. Yes.
I think Jason Schwartzman's always chewing gum in this too. Doesn't
Yeah.
he always have gum?
So it's true.
It's always like it's always like a real gross chew
And
too.
he yells, he's like, "You made me swallow my gum. It's gonna be my track for
Intestines.
7 years." Or like, is that an old wives' tale, like the eating the spiders, or no?
Yeah.
No.
No, that's 100% not a real thing. But this movie has a lot of very strange non sequiturs,
Yes.
but in a way that delights me. I really like the rhythm of this movie a lot, the comedic rhythm specifically,
Mhm. Like,
because it hits you like it'll go like beat 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 slightly faster than it should.
mhm.
So like it goes instead of going set up punchline, it goes set up punchline. Like it's like a two beat instead of like you know, which is really weird to watch.
But also not just in the vegan scene, but a couple of times it's set up. People are confused. Explain it. Then the punchline.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really like that she does scene. I just think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
They're like when the cleaning lady on Monday. They're like, what? Be like,
What's happening on Monday?
they're like, because I'm gonna beat you up into dust, and it's Saturday, and she doesn't come, and then she cleans on a Monday. She does. You're like, what? Okay, like whatever. But it makes me laugh every time. It makes me laugh every time.
The
And also,
bit, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, well, also the vegan police non sequitur as well. You're
Yeah.
just like, what? Why is this here? But yes,
Well, do they call out? I think in the comic book they call out that it's a Deus Ex Machina. I
yes,
think the
yes, they
comic book
do.
specifically says Deus Ex Machina. I don't know if it does in the movie or not.
It does
But
not.
the vegan police is first of all it's incredibly stupid and it's so weird and it's Thomas Jane for some reason. I wish he was wearing the Miller hat. That would have been it so much better. But so but at the end of that scene where his hair deflates and he doesn't have his vegan powers, Scott then headbutts him into coins and he's dead. and then it's a slow motion shot of Scott coming back up, and the vegan police in the background are going back to their car, and they high five each other, and it's like my biggest laugh of the movie.
It is a deserved laugh of the
Yeah.
movie. I'll give you that. Yeah. I mean, the other guy too is he's one of those like I know that guy because he's been in like 800 things, but what is his name?
Yeah, I also was trying to. I did not look it up, but I was like, that's probably somebody I should know.
Clifton Collins Jr.
Right? Is he like Johnny Depp's friend in 21 Jump Street or something? Like he seems like that guy. You know
Well,
what I mean?
he was in Capote, he was in Traffic, he was in Brothers, he was also in the Star Trek movie.
Oh,
Um,
okay,
he was also in Westworld,
okay.
Veronica Mars, Once
These
Upon a
are all
Time in
things that I've
Hollywood,
seen.
Super Troopers 2.
These are all things that I've seen. You're only naming things that I've seen, and I don't know
uh
who this guy is.
wait, nobody
Wait, is
watched
he?
this one. Did you see Transcendence?
I did not see that one.
Boom, something you didn't see. He was in Pacific Rim. Oh,
Saw
that's
that.
right. He was like the operator dude. Oh, okay. I know
Okay,
who he is. Yeah, no, his filmography is long. He
okay.
was
He's
oh,
a guy in the thing.
he was in Boondock Saints as well.
Okay, that's an old one.
Yeah. Babel. Yeah, he's been in stuff since ER. His first movie was his first acting gig was the TV series Freddy's Nightmares. He was in one episode.
Okay.
He was also in the Flash TV series from the 90s. That's crazy.
Yeah, with oh shoot.
Are you
John
gonna
Wesley Shipp, I want to say his name is.
ho ho? Let's see it. Let's see. Oh my god, you got it correct.
That's right.
Oh my god. Amazing. Yes. People forget the show exists all the time.
I remember the show exists. He played the Flash's dad in the new Flash show.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I did not watch the new Flash show.
It's
I I
good for a while.
watched one episode of that. I watched one episode of Supergirl and I watched one episode of Arrow and I was like, no. I was like, and I was out. I
I think
watched
I
like
did several seasons of the Flash before I was like, I don't think I can do this.
I watched like 2 or 3 seasons of Gotham and I was like, you guys jumped the shark. Like this is just
Oh, really?
nonsense now. Yeah. Like because you're already suspending your disbelief to like a very big amount in the world that they created. And then all of a sudden you're just like, nah, you that's just ridiculous. That's
Yeah.
no, not doing this. Had to walk away
Well,
from it.
I think I always have some sort of adverse reaction when it's just like, hey, you like Batman? Yeah, I like Batman. Okay, well here he is as a little kid.
I'm like,
It's like that's a Patton Oswalt joke from 15 years ago about Darth Vader, but it's like, oh, you get to see him as a little boy. I'm like, I don't care.
oh my god, exactly. But yeah, no, he's been in tons of things. There you go. Yeah,
It's hard to adapt comic books.
it
Uh,
is.
but I think that this movie does it in a pretty unique way.
In a
It
pretty
does it,
effective way as well.
you know. I really like. I mean, the thing that I love about this movie, as I've sort of pointed out some things I don't love as much, I love this music stuff. The music stuff in this movie is so good, and it uses the visual language of comic books and manga
Effectively.
to effectively to convey music stuff because the manga uses all that the same kind of visual language to have music. But it is really unique and it feels awesome when you watch it. Like, and the soundtrack is great. I love the soundtrack to this
Amazing,
movie.
yeah. When I first watched this movie, I was like, oh my God, the Sex Bomb songs. There's like 3 of them in this movie. I was like, they're so good. Like, why are they so good? And little did I know, it's because they were all written by a person that I have a deep love for, Beck. That people are
Mhm.
always confused by. They're like, why do you like Beck? I'm like, have you listened to his music? It's so good. That's all I can say. But yeah, no, like their songs are amazing. And then also like all of the other songs around it from like Metric and stuff is
Mhm.
just fantastic. Like
Well, Crash and the Boys is Broken Social Scene.
Yes.
Clash of Demon Head is Metric. I don't know the other ones. If there's are there other fake bands in the movie?
Well, there's the whatever twins,
Oh, the Kayanagi twins.
something like that. Yes,
I
there's
think that.
them.
Well, I think that all their stuff is composed by Nigel Godrich.
Okay,
Because he did the score to the movie and he is Radiohead's producer.
that would also explain why I like it so much.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to remember, I'm like, did Beck do? Because I know he did the Sex Bomb songs, but I was like, I was wondering if he actually put together the like he was like the, because it's not just the score.
Yeah. He did a couple original songs as well. I think the scene where after Scott says I'm in lesbians with you.
Oh my God. Yes.
And then she's like, "Yeah, I'm done here." And he's like bumping his head against the post. And his shitty Ramona song is being sung. Like this song's like, "I wrote a song for you," and it's just her name over and over again.
Yeah.
But that's Beck singing it.
That is Beck, yeah. And there's like a like on the like, well, I guess at the end of the movie they do have in the credits they have the full Ramona song, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's on the soundtrack and it's great.
Right. Yeah. No, it's good.
I love it. Yeah. There is a band named Plumtree that does a couple of songs.
That's a real band. That is the band that wrote the song Scott Pilgrim, which is where the character's name comes from.
Wait, so sorry. So they didn't write the song
for the movie? No.
No. Oh, okay. See, I did not know that.
He is named after that song.
Got it. Okay.
He wears a Plumtree shirt in the comic book.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. There is some stuff. I also remember friends were asking, they're like, I don't understand why he keeps wearing Smashing Pumpkins shirts. And I'm like, because it's SP. Just walk away from it. It's fine.
Also, because this movie is steeped in 90s alt, like 90s alternative, like ephemera. Like there's a scene in the movie where I think it's Julie. It's Aubrey Plaza's name is Julie, right?
I think so.
Whatever. It's Aubrey Plaza being Aubrey Plaza. Okay. She's like, you guys are like huge now. What do you play with the Pixies? And I'm like, it's so funny that the biggest band that you mentioned, like the exaggeration of like, you guys are so huge now, you're like the Pixies, is funny. A band that failed. Like it just didn't do well enough. They never were popular.
Like if you know about them, people are just like, yeah, the Pixies. But if you don't know about them, you'd be like, so.
Yeah. Oh, people love the Pixies. That is a huge band for resident indie sad boys. Yeah. That is a giant band to me. But in terms of like what normal people think a band is, like a big band is,
they're like, that's not them.
Like if it was like, oh, you guys play with like U2 or something, that's a completely different statement than you guys play with the Pixies or something.
Yeah, it does lock the movie in a very specific time period.
Yeah.
With this stuff, and I kind of like it being stuck in that time period.
100%. I really love discussions about who sold out. I know that is not cool anymore.
No.
But the fact that this band sucks out because they sold out rules. I love that.
Oh, it still happens.
It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
So my favorite song on their soundtrack is Sleazy Bed Track, which is sung by the Blue Tones.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Well, it's what scene is that in? Because it was not in the scene I thought it was in. It comes later. Oh, so you know when they're on like the bus together and they're talking about something, he's like, I want to make out right now, and that's when it plays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think there's also is it a Beachwood Spark song that's on there too?
Let's see.
I think it's playing at the end of their date. Like when they go to the apartment? Yeah, it's when they go to her place.
Isn't it Lighter Shade of Pale?
Oh, is that it?
Oh, no, it is. No, it is by your side. You're correct.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
isn't that the cover of the song by Sade?
I don't know.
By Your Side is sung by a couple of people. I don't
Okay.
know who sang it first.
I sadly don't own this soundtrack, which is weird. Like I
What?
should.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I mean,
You're
I've listened to
crazy.
it. 100% I've listened to it. But I watched this with my girlfriend last night, and when Anthems for a 17-year-old Girl was playing, like the Broken Social Scene song,
Yeah.
uh, my partner, lady friend, she has a sweater with lyrics from that song on it. Which is fun. She's like, I have that song on a sweater, and I'm like, I own that song twice on vinyl. Just I have two copies of that song for some reason, but I don't. I said like, and I should have three because I should own this soundtrack, but I don't.
Yes. It is a really great soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sade, it is a cover of the Sade song. The Sade song came out in
Okay.
2000. And then they
Oh,
did it
okay.
after. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, no, it's definitely a soundtrack that I've listened to like all the way through and enjoyed like every ironically liked the original songs more than the like needle drops.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so. I mean, like the Sex Bomb songs are great. Like they're
I do
so
love
good.
them. A Garbage Truck, love it. I
Yeah.
love Garbage Truck. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Battle of the Band sequence where they play Garbage Truck against the twins, right? Or is that just in the apartment?
No. No, they played Garbage Truck against the whatever and the boys.
Oh, that's against Crash and the Boys?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to
I
figure out
was
what
gonna
order it was
s-
in.
I was gonna say that the battle sequence with the Kadianagi twins. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm gonna sound like such an idiot. Against the twins, um, is so good.
Yeah,
And
it's
like
called,
the
sorry, it's by a guy named Kyogo Oyamada
oh, okay.
and performed by that guy as, and it says brackets as Cornelius. I'm
Oh,
not
it's
sure what that means.
Cornelius. Cornelius is an artist, like a Japanese like musical artist.
Oh, okay. So, well, it's that guy who did it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
I'm getting my 15-year-old trivia wrong. On the
Yes.
on the Blu-ray release of this, there is you can watch with a trivia track on it. So it'll be like pop-up video. So like
Mhm.
as your subtitles, it'll be like so at the beginning when it plays the 8-bit version of the Universal logo,
Yeah.
it says that this was specially arranged by Nigel Godrich. So I think I just sort of extrapolated from that. And my first note
Oh, it
is
says here. Yes. Okay.
yeah,
Sorry.
the first thing that I wrote down as my note was that I had to turn off the trivia track because I'm like, this must be what it's like to watch with me.
Oh God. Well, this is my, so like most of my DVDs come with like commentary or trivia or we'll slice in the cutscene so you know where they should have been, blah 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 blah. And people are just like, "Oh, did you watch it this way? Did you watch it this way?" I'm like, "No. I want to watch my movie."
No,
That's it. That's all I want to do.
I think this one
Because
has 4 commentary tracks,
oh my God.
which
Commentary,
I love extra stuff. I haven't watched any of those. I should
you know.
because I actually really like commentary tracks. I miss them
Hmm.
on things because they don't have them as much as they used to. But that's how I learned more about the cast and crew of the movie.
I don't know. I just fall into like a deep hole of like, who's that guy? Click on him, like, oh my God, he was in these things, and then go back to a thing, and then go thing over here, and a blah blah blah, and you're like, what? It's crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
The song they play in the battle with the twins is Threshold.
Okay, right.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that
So
sequence went over real well with me.
yeah.
I had some tingles in there as stuff's happening.
I like they see the poster, they're like, do they have enough exclamation marks? I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God, Kim Pine is so great.
Yeah.
She has the best lines in the whole movie.
And they're always like 10 minutes apart and it's just one line.
Yeah,
Just like in
she,
there.
she's such a delight. I wrote down one of her like because they're gonna go to this party, right? This house party because he thinks that is it Steven Stills thinks that like somebody's gonna like some label people might be there or something? Wasn't that the
The
rationale?
thing, yeah.
And they're like, oh, I don't want to go. And Kim Pine says, at least this will give us something to complain about.
It's
Oh,
true.
and I'm like, oh, it's me. I thought that I think when I was a kid, I thought that I was Scott, but I'm actually Kim Pine. Uh,
Maybe,
yeah,
yes.
just quietly pissed off.
Yeah. Oh, Allison Pill. She's great. Kieran Culkin. Anna Kendrick. Johnny Simmons. Oh, he was in Jennifer's Body. I feel like he's been in more things though.
Who's he?
He
Is he
is
Steven
young.
Stills?
He's young Neil.
Oh, young Neil. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know him from anything else.
Oh, Perks of Being a Wallflower and Jennifer's Body. I know well.
You're only
Um,
naming movies I have not seen.
you've never seen Jennifer's Body?
Nah.
It is a great movie.
I think I saw Ginger Snaps. Isn't that kind of the same thing?
Sort of, except instead of a werewolf, she is a succubus.
Okay.
And she literally eats boys. So
Okay.
in high school. And there's a whole
Once
thing with
again,
like a
sounds
pop
like
band and
something I
stuff.
would be into.
Yes.
But at the time, not anymore.
No, it's
I'm a
actually
changed man.
it actually holds up really well. Like it's a solid. It's not quite there are horror sequences in it, but I wouldn't go as far as to call it a horror movie. It's more of
Right.
like a thriller, like a deep thriller with some supernatural elements to it and a whole lot of humor. There's a whole lot of laughing in it. There's
Mhm.
lots of jokes and stuff. It's just a lot of fun to watch.
Mhm.
I recommend. He was also in Whiplash.
Okay.
I did not watch Whiplash. That did not look like a movie I would enjoy watching.
It's pretty intense.
Hmm. The first thing he was in was in 2004, so he's young. That's why he's
Yeah.
young.
That's why I said, yeah. That's
Oh, he was in Castle. Maybe that's what I know him from, actually.
okay. I mean, he can't, I mean, he's got to be is like older than me now, right? Like he's,
He was born in 1986.
yeah, no, he's older than me. So he's 38. He's not so young anymore.
He's not so young anymore
He
at
still
all.
sounds like that though.
Yeah, he does. Well, because he still voices the character on the in the
Yeah.
animated show, so
No, they got everybody back, like almost everybody back. It's pretty crazy.
which is yeah, I think that's crazy. Like I would think like not Michael Cera, but maybe like I know Anna Kendrick and Aubrey Plaza are doing like a lot of things these days. I would just thought
Yeah.
they wouldn't have been rude and be like, I'm not doing that, I'm above it. It'd be more like, no, I got like a lot of shit going on right now.
Yeah. They probably just like, you just record it on your phone and we'll fix it up.
We'll fix it later. It'll
Yeah.
be fine. Yes.
Could you say you're saying no, but say the following things at the same time?
Like we'll send it in a text. Just
Yeah.
tell us that way. You're like, okay, done.
But I mean, I guess since you mentioned the animated series, like I mean, I kind of pushed it in there, but it's really good. I would really suggest watching it. I think it's better than the movie.
Well, I assumed it would have been better than the movie because it just has the time to tell the story slightly better. But also,
It tells a different story.
it's yeah, I heard it deviates quite
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah.
But in a good way, I'm assuming.
It's great. And I think it fixes a lot of the problems with the source material, like on purpose. I think that as Brian Lee O'Malley got older, because he wrote the book, I think when he was like 26 or something, like
Okay.
was not mature, really.
Yeah.
He's only like 4 years out from the characters in the book. I think in the 20 years since, he was kind of like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I was sort of being a little easy on some stuff, or not really resolving, you know, or has some problems. And you mentioned that like Ramona sort of doesn't really have much of a personality
Mhm.
in the movie, and you're right to say so. The cartoon, without spoiling too much, is basically the Ramona show.
Oh, okay. So you actually
Yeah.
get to know her.
Like she is more in it than Scott Pilgrim is.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because in the comic book, like you get why he likes her because she's a full-fledged character and she
Yeah.
does stuff. And maybe they did it for time reasons and whatever, but they don't really get around to explaining her at all in this movie.
Yeah.
She's more like the Maltese Falcon. She's just like this object that people want,
Hmm.
and the story just revolves around it. So it's just there. But they don't make her like unlikable. You're just like, I just there's nothing really there.
I mean, I think that she is as flawed as Scott is.
Yes.
I think that the movie may not doesn't show it. It may go a little easier on her, but like she's not great either. She
No.
like her seven Evil Rexes are her fault.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like she did not treat these people well. And she's a flake and like bails.
Mm-hmm.
These people have like a lot of emotional issues around abandonment.
Yes.
And it's so like I think that what the cartoon does is it allows her to resolve her own issues. Where the movie is more about him getting around his issues, but hers sort of don't really have a resolution. So it's what's great about the cartoon is it will work in tandem with the movie and have a conversation with it.
Oh, okay.
Um, so and like really makes you like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have like identified so much with this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe rooted for this character more or things like that. And it also humanizes the X's a lot more because they're very cardboardy in this,
Yeah, well,
sometimes in a fun way.
they only get their one scene and very little background.
Right.
So yeah, that's what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, because they
Um,
have to, I think if forgive me if I'm remembering it correctly, I don't think every X gets their own book, but I think that each one of them almost gets a book.
yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, because there's 5 books. So, well, and the twins are one, so that makes
Yeah,
it 6 X's technically altogether, right?
yeah, maybe Lucas and Roxy are in the same book or something like that. I can't really
Possibly.
remember, uh,
Possibly.
but it's spread out,
Mhm.
and you get the quiet moments in between. I feel like the movie, once the fighting stuff starts, it doesn't really end
Yeah.
until the very end.
Well, because there's all those like, well, not all those. Well, in the movie, I think they only do it once, maybe twice in the movie, where they show like the little like cartoon sketch of like the background,
Right,
of what happened. Whereas the comic book does it for all of them and
right.
is like, this is the background. This is how Ramona ruined their life and quit on them and why they're mad. Blah
Yep.
blah blah. Here's the background of their relationship. And then, then they talk about it, blah blah blah, and then the fight happens and they're like, we'll see you next time for the next one. And then the next
Yeah,
book happens, right? So whereas this one, you're just like, oh, I'm Dev Patel. And
yeah.
they start fighting, and you're like, cool. I'm Roxy. Start fighting. Like,
I
cool.
think the structure benefits from being episodic,
Yes. Yeah. I think
because
it works best.
yeah. So it sort of is weird as a movie because it's just like a lot of things happening one after the other, and they
Mhm.
don't feel necessarily terribly connected to each other. But some of the stuff with form kind of like outshines it. Like it's really getting away with more than it should because it's so fun to watch.
Well, I think that's the brilliance of Edgar Wright. He's got a way of putting fun into even the most mundane situations or places. Like he has like an eye for things and a way for because I know he'd probably help with like the scripting and stuff like that. So he's got a way for like writing and angles, and he's very into, unless the scene needs it, he's a very into like a good set of color to like
Mhm.
illustrate his points and stuff.
Mhm.
So like Edgar Wright is one of like the more underrated. He's like well liked, and for the people who know, but he's definitely an underrated, slept on director that I think needs a little bit more credit.
Yeah, I could see that. I feel like he's been a little bit diminishing returns for me personally the
Okay.
last little bit. Um, like I did not enjoy. I don't think I enjoyed Baby Driver very much. I think that might have been the last one I was kind of like, yeah, I just didn't like that one. And I wasn't like super over on World's End either.
Oh, I really liked World's End.
You know.
I did
Maybe
really enjoy
I
that
need to
one.
see it again, but I was pretty hot on Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead,
Hmm.
and pretty hot
Oh,
on this one.
last the one he lost man was Last Night in Soho.
I didn't even see that one. I heard it was
Yeah.
awful.
I I really wanted to like it, but I was like, this is not working.
Yeah,
And but I did not see what is that? What the hell is this time? Sparks Love. Oh, it's a
that's a
band.
documentary about
That's a
Sparks.
documentary. Yes,
Yeah.
got it. He did direct the Colors video by Beck.
Oh, there you go.
Baby Driver, and then there's a bunch of music videos, a short, a Grindhouse ad. Yeah, he
Yeah,
really
he
hasn't.
did. Don't.
Yeah, he really didn't do that much.
Yeah. No, he's pretty slow. I mean, he
Mhm.
worked on Ant-Man for a while, and then kind of got booted off that or quit. I don't know
I
with
feel
the.
like that movie would have been really good, but that movie
Yeah.
would have had to have come out after Ragnarok because
Right. Okay.
that's when Marvel was just like, maybe we can do something a little different, a little quirkier. Whereas
Right.
I think his idea was a little maybe too
Silly.
cringe for them and like
Yeah.
not following their specific not their plan, but like how they structure their films.
Their house style.
Yeah, and he was like, no, we're gonna do something slightly different. They're like, no, we're not. And then they let Taika do it, and now they're like, maybe we'll let people do different things now. I think.
Yeah. I think they're tightening the reins now, though. They were like, oh, that didn't work.
Well, the second time it definitely did not
It
work.
did not work the second
Oh
time. They
my
could not double
God,
deep on that one.
that was
Uh,
it was so bad.
yeah.
Jeez. Yeah,
But I think the best stuff in Ant-Man was him. Like
mhm.
the Michael Pena stories in that. That's the
Yeah,
best. That's like the best part, right? Like
so good. Yeah,
him telling those stories, and that is 100% Edgar Wright's like rhythm.
yeah. Oh, that
And
makes
like
sense now that I think about it.
yeah,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
that feels like an Edgar Wright joke. Like that feels like him telling that crazy story and everyone like acting as if they're Michael Pena.
Yeah.
So good. But
So-
100% feels like an Edgar Wright form of a joke.
And also the character they create with him because he's like, oh, we were at the art gallery and we saw this like Roscoe and blah blah blah. And I was just like, I like this guy. Okay, great.
Yeah. No, it is a great mix. I think he also throws in a reference to how Latinos love Morrissey in one of those
Does
stories. Have you heard that before?
it? No.
It's like a thing in like Southern California culture among like Latinos that like Morrissey is like very popular.
Okay, so I'm probably gonna admit something that people are gonna be like, what? But okay, Morrissey is a name I've heard for many years. And when I
Huh.
hear it, I'm like 80s music, I
Hmm.
think. And I'm like, yeah, nod and smile. Morrissey, yes. Um, and I have never in my life thought of like looking up Morrissey.
Uh-huh.
I don't know anything. There's possibly maybe they're on a soundtrack somewhere and there is a song that I know, but I don't know anything about this man except that people bring him up in conversations sound smart, like Kafka. Like
Uh, Definitely not as highbrow reference as Kafka. Uh, I mean, people don't really talk. He's pretty bit much been soft canceled at this point.
yeah, apparently
He said some
he's a
pretty.
giant ass. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an asshole. I think he's always been an asshole, to be honest. I think he's just more vocally an asshole against immigrants now.
Oh, ugh.
Um, yeah. Um, but I mean, he was in the Smiths. Do you know the Smiths?
Oh yeah, I do know the
Yeah,
Smiths.
he's the singer in the Smiths. And then he had a solo career after that. He sings like this. Like he's like a crooner of like, you know, indie sad boy stuff.
Oh, okay. See, now that you said that he's part of the Smiths, I'm like, all right, I do know his music then.
Yeah.
It's fine. I just
Basically his stuff after that is just not as good versions of the Smith songs.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
At least now I know what he looks like. I finally Googled him, so yes.
He's an odd and interesting guy. I think for a while he was portraying himself as asexual, which is
Okay.
interesting for somebody in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
He also like has uh I think people have speculated about his sexuality otherwise for a very long time. So he has like a counterculture kind of stuff to him, but then he started saying like racist stuff. So
And people are like,
uh,
you can have him back.
yeah, we're good. We'll count him out. He's saying nice stuff about, some pretty bad dudes. So yeah,
He's got
but
wicked eyebrows, I'll tell you that.
he's got a cool pompadour a lot of the time too. Yeah, he's a
Not
dude with a pompadour in the 80s, and you're like, yeah, that guy hates immigrants? Like, how? Like, what does that make sense? He has a song called Hand in Glove where it says the sunshine comes out of our behinds, which, like, I'm pretty sure is just like about fisting butts. And it's just like, wait, this does not track with like I love UKIP. Like the UK like immigrant like hating people.
yeah,
It's very odd. UK first guy. Like what the hell, Morrissey?
that's
Stop being a
hilarious.
dick.
One of the questions on here when you search him is, what does Morrissey do now? Tour the world as a solo artist. That's what it says.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna stick with that still being the most insulting thing. What is he doing now?
Apparently, this question was asked in 2010. So,
Good.
sorry, not March 10th, 2024. Where did I get 2010 from? I don't know.
Eh, He's kind of washed up. Like he's not anywhere near like any level of stardom that he used to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is really funny to be like, whatever happened to him? And it's like he's still doing exactly what he's always done.
Go around, sing some songs, be an ass. Done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
being hated by Johnny Marr. It's the guitarist in the Smiths.
Got
They
it.
hated
Okay,
each
thank
other.
you. Thank you. I shrugged. I was like,
Yeah, no,
oh,
that's fine.
got it. Yes. Yeah, my
But
other
this
thing
is
is
why I'm here to make these deep cut indie references.
I like unless you're a solo artist, I don't know what your name is. If you're in a
Yeah.
band, you're just that band. I don't know who you are. Like you just sing the songs. Done.
Well, one of the lines I wrote down from the movie is this next band is from Brampton.
I was like, B-Tone. Yes.
Which is only funny to people that are from Toronto. Like it's just because no one ever mentions Brampton ever in
Yeah, but
anything.
also it's funny because Michael Cera's from Brampton.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
Um,
that.
when this movie came out, I was living in Brampton. So, it's great.
Next
No, wait,
band's from
no, wait.
Brampton.
That's a lie. I was not. I was living in Mississauga.
Okay.
And then I
Got
would
a fa-
move to Toronto
we
the
didn't we
next
didn't have
year.
to we didn't have to put in a fact check edit here too.
No.
She said that she lived in Brampton, but I found out.
Yes, everybody's fact checking that information. Oh my God. The amount of fact checks people must do when I talk on this podcast. Oh my God. They're like, what the fuck is she talking about? It's nothing. And when I catch things that are clearly wrong, I try my best to put it in the show notes, but there's definitely things that I've missed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, we've talked for probably a total of what, like 78 hours on this show.
Yes.
That like there's no way that I didn't say something completely wrong and stupid that I
Yeah.
just like made up. Because sometimes I just don't remember things right, but I think I do.
Yeah. And then you say it so like, yeah, this is definitely right. That I'm just like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. So yeah.
Okay, people have
Yeah.
told me that I say that. That I sound like that. I mean to tell you, I don't know shit. I don't know why my voice comes off that way. I do not
Mhm.
mean it to. I am unsure about every word. There's so
Okay.
many times that I have to preface things on specifically on the show with, in my eye, to me.
Yeah.
Because I have to qualify stuff because I'm a Toronto little sad boy.
Yeah. I mean, I do that too. I say a lot of like, in my opinion,
Yeah.
which half the time, like I say it too many times sometimes, and I'm just like, seriously, Tracy, get other words. It's okay. It's allowed. Yes. It's all right.
But like this movie being in Toronto is super fun though,
It is
right?
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because more like so many movies are filmed in Toronto and but they don't actually take place in Toronto, right? So you have movies like this and like the F Word, The Man from Toronto, which annoyed the fuck out of me, but it does take place in Toronto. Um and stuff like that where you're like, oh, they actually care about Toronto. This is crazy. Whereas everything like no, we're in Baltimore, we're in New York. You're just like, are you though? Are you? At the end of Red, there's a they're doing a presidential campaign at some hotel. It's the Royal York on Front Street. I'm just like, come on, guys. I see a GO train sign in the background of that one scene. Get
Or
over
on the Expanse when the UN building is actually Roy Thompson.
it. Or Strange New Worlds, they have like they're on like some other planet and it's clearly the dome in Ontario Place. I'm just
Right.
like, sure.
Uh,
Yeah. Alien planet it is.
did they do Strange New Worlds? Didn't they go to Toronto and say it was Toronto?
Yeah, they went back in time on an
Yeah,
episode.
they
They
went
were
back
driving
in
around
time
Toronto.
to
Yeah.
Toronto. They
What
was
was
like,
real?
oh, I've
What
never
was
been in that Roots at the Eaton Center. Like they go
they,
in and I'm like, that's what that looks like inside.
they robbed it. I was like, oh
I've
my
lived here for
gosh.
18 years.
And there's one scene where so it's supposed to be like 20, I want to say it's 2026 they came back to or something. I
Uh-huh.
don't know. But they're driving around and they could not hide the fact that there was construction everywhere in the city. So they just left it in. They're like, no, driving down the street, bunch of construction. And you're just like, the city's still in construction? Oh my God. Like that's all I kept thinking. It's fine.
It'd
But
have been funny if they were like, yeah, Young at Eglinton is just a war zone. We can't even go up there.
they're like, we gotta detour this. There was a car chase sequence. I'm like, that's a lie. You can't do that here. What are you talking about? That's crazy. The only way you can do that is you hop a sidewalk and take out a whole bunch of pedestrians. That's the only way you could do that. Like,
Now,
no.
I saw this movie 2 times in the theater in Toronto,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure that everybody in Toronto did the same. Like, I know that place.
Yeah, that's what you do. You
Yeah.
have to do it. Yes.
And now when you watch it, you just go, oh, the Green Beanery. I remember that place.
You're like, oh, that place is gone. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, the lights over there, and yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's
No.
too bad that the Green Beanery people were weird anti-vaxxers.
Wait, does that mean they're dead? Is that why it's gone?
I don't know. I think they sold it, but everyone was sort of like, really? The Green Beanery? Like,
The only thing I never figured out was where. So the party where they fight, what's her face? Her. Do we get
hmm?
that reference? No.
Sorry, say that again.
Where they fight the girl.
Oh, the bar? I don't know where that is.
Yeah, that place I don't know, and wherever the
Her.
Chaos
I
Theater
just got the
is.
her.
Right? Okay.
That took me a minute.
And where they had the Chaos Theater, those are the only places I don't recognize. I think
I
even
feel like that's a set. I feel like that's not a real place.
yeah, but like a set where?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
like
I think Pinewood. I think they were set up at Pinewood.
Pinewood Theater. Oh yeah, that makes
Yeah. Or
sense.
no, the
Yeah,
Pine at
the
the Pinewood
production
studio.
studio.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
That makes
where I know from the one of the early trivia tracks that's where the Steven Stills' apartment was or his house was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it was in the theater. Oh, I thought they picked like a
Or no,
house.
it was in Pinewood Studios. So I'm assuming that they built the theater, the Gideon Graves's place there
In
too.
there as well. Okay, that makes
Because
sense.
that's not a real place,
Yeah,
right?
it
Like
can't be.
yeah. Unless it was like a Cool House or something, you know.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Now, where was the Rocket?
Which one's the rocket?
That's where they did the first Battle of the Bands. That's the Battle of the Bands with Crash and the Boys.
Oh, they
I think in
actually
the I
they
think it says in the comic book, warning: this place is a toilet.
yes, they say it in the movie too. No, though that place is like a real place. They
I
say
don't
that
think it can't exist anymore, but I've never been there.
because they actually say what the name of the place is in it. And I was like, "Oh, there." And I that place is gone. That's what I
Hmm.
remember thinking.
Because like Lee's is still there, and it looks like that.
Yes. Yeah,
Um, Lee's is weirdly like one of the best concert venues in town, right?
it is. I've only been in there twice.
Yeah, I've
It's
been
been
to
a
a few
while.
things there. It's a good small venue.
Hmm.
It looks like garbage, but
Yeah,
it's that's like one's like, oh, cool, it's at least Palace, sweet.
yeah.
Not like at whatever Sound Academy is called now.
Oh my God, that place changed names so many times.
The Rebel? Is it called the Rebel now? That
I'm
place
shrugging
sucks.
people.
It
I'm
always
shrugging.
sucks.
Well, because there's
This is what people tuned in for, right? Toronto concert venue reviews. That's real, but honestly, goes real well with the movie. Like that is
does.
what this isn't even off topic.
It's a necessity.
Yeah.
So, okay, so they apparently filmed at Artscape Witchwood Barns.
Okay. Oh,
I don't know where
okay.
that is.
That's like north on like when you're go to like Christie Station and go north.
Oh,
That's
really?
Witchwood Barns. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And then it just says Bloor Street West. All right. And then it says 27 Alberta Avenue. That's where Scott's home is. So
Right.
we can
Okay.
find that place. And then, of course, Casa Loma.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that the wait, they shoot movies in Toronto?
Just like, yes, they do. Oh my God, constantly.
Yeah. I'm also being very careful about your pronunciation of Toronto, so no one can confuse me for an outsider.
You have to say Toronto correctly.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what
Um,
that's what annoyed me about the man from Toronto. I was like, you could tell all of the background people were actual
Posers.
Torontonians. No, they were all the background people were clearly Torontonians because they were like, "Oh, we're here for the man from Toronto." What? And then Woody Harrelson will come in and he's like, "I'm the man from Toronto." I'm like,
Oof.
what?
What's
I'm
weird
sorry.
is like I could only imagine him drawing it out anyway.
I
Like he's sort of
guess
marble mouthy at the on the best of days.
that's true, actually. But no, like everybody who was clearly not from Toronto was saying it wrong. And I
Right.
was like, oh no, oh no. Do not. There's no second T, guys. There's no
Yeah.
second T. Just let it. They should have had a voice coach for them. Like, no, it said like this. Toronto. Toronto.
Do
Now
the
now
people
it
in
just
this movie, does Gideon Graves say the T, the last T?
I think he does.
I think, and that's a very good detail
Yeah.
because he
And then
says it
he's
wrong.
and then he says that the city's like quaint or something.
Yeah.
I was like, ass.
Your quaint Canadian sensibilities.
I was deeply offended by that comment, but I was like, I
Yeah.
like you. But no,
It's a good like wrestling promo, like kind of thing, where it's like that's just an unnecessary cheap shot.
exactly. Like below the belt, guys. Below the
Yeah.
belt. Not acceptable.
And
Yes.
we are quaint. Thank you.
It's how we like it.
Sorry.
Lee's Palace, Pinewood. Ooh, 65 Alberta Avenue. It also says Scott's home as well. I think
Yeah.
people are guessing, or
Yeah,
they're just
probably.
two
Well,
angles.
I watched that when there's like, here's my house that I grew up in. I went, oh, so Scott comes from money then. He's like a millionaire. That house is a good like $1.5–2 million house
Oh yeah. Yeah.
at least. Like that was an actual nice house. And if you're from Toronto,
Be careful.
then you
Careful.
know that if a house if you actually go like the old Otto from The Simpsons like, whoa, this place has windows? I can't afford this.
So apparently Ramona's house is 294 Carlton, which is a place I have walked in front of a million times, and I wish I knew because I would have taken pictures. It's fine.
Okay, that's weird. I didn't. Oh, right. Does she live in a house in that one? Like, okay, so I was trying to remember this from the comic book last night. They live together, right?
In the comic book?
Yeah. Scott
No.
and Ramona, I think, live together.
Not in the first comic.
Right.
So that like because his roommate kicks him out, right?
Right.
So yeah, so he moves in there with her.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, it's that place that he lives in. Okay.
Yes.
I was trying to remember. So like it's a much longer period of time because of like, oh, they're like living together and they have like living together couple
Probably.
problems
Yes.
rather than like, which is a much different, situation to be in than new dating problems.
Exactly, which is a
Yeah.
very different story.
Right.
Yeah. They said, yeah,
But
so no, it says Chaos Theater. Chaos Theater is not a real thing.
right. Yeah. That's not a place.
Hmm, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't get invited to douchey clubs.
Me neither. I don't
I
fit in there.
I'm looking at that place. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't go there. Like the band is dressed as the Hives for some reason,
Uh-huh.
and they're and it's like everything's neon and like has all this like weird lighting and concrete. I'm like, nah,
Mhm.
I never went to these places.
Me neither. I
No,
mean, I would have gotten the same way that Scott did because they'd ask me for a password. I'd be like, what? What? Ever? Like, no, that's not a. They'd be like, yeah, okay, fine. I'm like,
I love that joke.
yeah, it's so
That's the password. Oh, that's really good.
it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. But yes.
But also
So
like we don't have that kind of character anymore. Like I miss those kind of like slacker like whatever. Like that's like a thing. Like cuz I feel like oh, I'm going to say it. Kids today
and we're back to being regular Matt
kids
Damon.
today. Yeah,
Yep.
no, the gift went the other way. I'm
Yep.
back to being old guy. Uh I don't feel like slackerdom is part of the culture anymore.
No.
Like I've also been the night before I watched Saving Private Ryan, I watched Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Hard
I
pivot.
needed
Okay.
I
Yeah.
needed the 1-2, the logical 1-2 punch
Mhm.
of Saving Private Ryan and Beavis and Butthead Do America. And like just that kind of like guy doesn't really exist anymore.
Mhm.
The like kind of slacker guy that like doesn't really try very hard and is just kind of like whatever about stuff. Like the aloof guy doesn't really exist anymore.
Well, because they can't function in our society anymore. Because if
Yeah,
you're
I know.
aloof
That's what makes
now,
them so funny. It's like Mr. Bean.
yeah. I mean, no, but Mr. Bean tried. He just failed
Yeah, I
miserably at
know.
everything. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we have garnered a culture where working really hard to get people to pay attention to you is a way to pay your bills. And
Right.
so it's very necessary. Whereas I think back in the day, you had the ability to be really aloof and not care about things and still do stuff. But now, if you're like that, you don't have money and don't have friends and nobody likes you.
Mm-hmm.
So
So perfect movie characters.
you're like, this is what we need.
This is what I
Gotta
want
have
to
it.
see.
Yeah.
I want to see the ugh,
Yeah.
fine. Like I miss that kind of stuff. Like like yeah, I miss the whatever stuff.
I feel like that's gonna come back around real soon.
Yeah.
But like the generation that's around right now, again, make me feel really old saying that. I feel like they're gonna get tired of trying so hard, and then they're all gonna fall back into like, well, they all have money from trying so hard, so then they can fall back into like, whatever, I don't care. And
Hit that
that's
smash and slow subscribe button.
yeah. Yeah, and that slacker mentality is going to come back into play, and we can just relax a little bit more, and nobody's going to be talking about the grind or the,
Yeah.
the 5 to 9 after the 9 to 5 anymore. I'm like, ugh, it sounds horrible.
Well, like it's a very 90s thing, right? Like that was sort of the like that was the whatever stuff. That was
Mhm.
like the is an emblematic of like grunge and like being jaded. Like jaded Gen Xers is sort
Yes.
of like where that stuff is. And I feel like we're just not as jaded anymore. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well,
Probably a good thing.
we got the stuff. right?
Yeah.
Because we were jaded because we didn't have the stuff like
Yeah.
mental health and, you know, education and prospects. And
Yeah.
now we got the stuff, which is mental health
Wait,
and
you have
education
prospects?
and
Oh,
prospects.
fuck.
No, I'm a Gen Xer. I do
I've
not have
fallen
prospects. What
behind.
are you talking about?
Right. I'm that
Um,
like I don't know if am I an elder millennial or just a regular millennial? I'm not sure. I'm somewhere in there.
no, you were born after 86.
88.
Yeah, I think you're a regular millennial.
Regular millennial.
Yeah, I think an elder millennial is like 83 to 86 or 87
Yeah.
or
I
something
think
like that.
my brother is because he's
Mhm.
81.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's definitely he's border between Gen X and millennial.
Me
So I guess he
too.
would be the elder millennial, but this movie definitely has that the sensibility of that kind of like a late Gen X, early like elder millennial stuff.
Mhm.
But with all the alt rock references and all the like whatever and whoever's coolest. There's a lot of whoever's coolest talk in this. A lot
Yes.
of
Yeah.
cultural cachet talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's who it was written by, so I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, no, I mean it's also like it's also fun because it's like also chocked full of like video game references. So like this movie's hitting me in so many dork places. Like it's like, oh hey, you know all these like alt rock references and indie rock references. Yeah, well, here's the Zelda theme song playing next to them.
throw it in there.
Yeah,
They even have like the Seinfeld Sting shows up in there.
with a
The
laugh
comic.
track. That's such a weird segment.
Which I really enjoyed actually.
It has a good
Um,
punchline. The
yes.
someone got to second base last night, and he's like, I got to second base, and he like kind of then he pops back in and goes, maybe first and a half, and like I'm a big fan of somebody arrogantly telling a story where they look bad.
Yes. uh
Where it's just like erectile dysfunction. I don't have that problem. It's the opposite. Like just like that joke structure makes me laugh. Like that's always
yeah.
funny.
Yeah. That hilarious unknowing
Yeah.
self-deprecation, I want to call it. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. This movie just made me feel good, so
Yeah.
I was happy about it.
It definitely was better. It was a good idea for me to watch Private Ryan first and then do Scott Pilgrim the next day.
Yeah. No, I actively picked that way
Yeah.
to watch it because usually I don't care. I'm just like, whatever's in my hand first, throw it in. But this
Well,
one was like, no.
after Private Ryan, I need a nap. I'm just like, I can't. I'm just gonna, sit back and I'm gonna contemplate America
Hmm.
and think about the sacrifices that were made for so I can live this way. And then and then the next day you're like, man, indie rock's fun.
Let's watch what they fought for.
I
Let's do
hope
this.
I hope he hooks up with that blue-haired girl.
Green haired girl. Oh, pink haired girl. And it
uh,
doesn't matter. It's fine.
yeah,
Go through all of the
but
colors.
one of the fun framing devices on the cartoon is that almost every episode, not every single one, but almost every episode starts with her doing the dye, like her
Oh,
doing her bleaching, having a shower, putting in a new color, washing her hair again, and then comes out and that's the episode. Is like then it starts the episode after that. It's a really
okay.
nice, yeah. So it kind of gives, like I said, it's the episodic structure that really helps it,
Mhm.
as it did with the comic.
Did
Um,
did Edgar Wright have a hand in making the animated
he's
show?
the producer, I think, the
Okay,
executive producer.
that makes sense. Okay.
He also is in it, sort of, but is played by Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall. You have to see this show. It's
I do.
bonkers.
I do. It sounds like one of those things where like there's always like a show or like a movie where you're like, look, if I explain this to you, you're gonna think I'm crazy and making shit up, but I'm not. But
Yeah.
if you watch it, you will get this high level understanding that you'll be like, this is awesome. And it just
Yeah.
somehow works. And you're just like, okay, you just have to watch this. Okay, fine.
It's almost a parody of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's like it's I think it's really great. It's been a really good year for elder millennial nostalgia cartoons.
Okay.
Because like between this show and like X-Men 97,
Oh,
like
so
we've been
good.
eating
Yes.
so well.
Yeah.
Like just like but it's the same thing where it's like it's taking something that people liked, and it's doing it in a new way that's better. And you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, you understood what the other thing was doing right, and you just did that.
Yes. Yeah. And they did it well.
Yeah.
Unlike when they did, like, there are people out there who think the new Clone High is good. And I was like, whoever's right, like I know they got most of the voice actors back and stuff, but I'm like, you're missing what made the other show good. And half of that's
Yeah.
Gandhi, but we know why he's not there. Um,
Yeah.
but the other half is there's just, when you watch something and you're like, you're technically doing the things, but you're not. So this is not funny.
Right. How
Yeah.
much did you watch the whole thing? I only watched like the first episode, I think,
Yeah,
of
I
the new
watched the
one.
yeah, I watched the whole thing.
How much like didn't they did a gag in the first episode where we thought it was going to be Gandhi, but then it turned out to be like a fire hydrant or something? Wasn't that like a
Yes.
bit they kept
Yeah.
doing? Did they
Well,
keep doing that?
because there's a like 2 episodes later they ask uh nobody's seen Gandhi since we woke up, and they just do like a flash to the cellar and he's still frozen in there. So
Oh,
apparently he's still in the world, but people just don't know he's there.
yeah.
Um, but
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
here's what's weird about it. I know that he is a very exalted figure
Mhm.
in India, and rightfully so. In a way, aren't there also like some pretty rough stories about Gandhi?
Oh yeah, he's well, he was apparently a racist. He really didn't like black people.
Yeah.
He was a
Didn't I think
lawyer
he?
for a while, so he apparently did some not great lawyer things before he became not
Yeah.
altruistic, but decided better and became like a human rights lawyer kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's definitely some questionable things he did earlier on, specifically in
Yeah.
his career.
I mean, this is from. I know that probably part of the British campaign at the time would probably be to discredit him with certain stories,
Mhm.
as the government did with Martin Luther King and stuff in the 60s.
Yep.
But I heard a story that he used to sleep in a bed with his very young niece, in a period where he was talking about how he was celibate and couldn't be tempted and all that kind of stuff.
What was it?
So
One of those things where he's like, I was testing my
yeah,
temptation. Oh,
yeah.
got it. Yes.
And I'm
I
like, ugh, that's the. I mean, like I said, I'll take that with a grain of salt because it's obviously could be a person that somebody else would have a reason to lie about,
mhm.
as we've seen in other points of history. But yeah, I'm like, but part of me kind of goes like, is this as sacred of a person as we may think?
I mean, look, I don't think anybody they picked in the show, like to be in the show, is sacred, including Gandhi.
Yeah,
I mean, they got Jesus in there.
yeah,
Whatevs. Um, they make fun of the poorly deformed Marie Curie. Fine.
right. Oof.
Confucius is in the new one. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's also that I didn't find the character of Gandhi on the cartoon to be bad of a guy.
No, he
Like
wasn't.
I thought he was just like, oh, he's a party dude. Okay. Like it's just not I didn't like, I didn't find that to be an insulting portrayal of a human. Maybe as somebody
No,
that you
no.
would see as being a very respected person, I could see that, but
Mm.
just as a human goes, he's fine. He's just like a kid.
Yeah, yeah. It's I
He really wanted
found
to see American Pie.
I found because you didn't get to see it. Fuck the pie. Okay, that made me laugh. I just and he was and that's when they had like the sad moment and he does like his hands up and
Yeah.
everything. And you're like, what is going
I didn't get
on?
to see him have sex with a pie. Sex with a pie. Sex with a pie.
It was so good. Like, but the thing is, too, is I think about it, and I was like, maybe I don't like the new one because it's just not the old one that I've watched over and over and over for the past however many years. But also,
Yeah.
I watched X-Men '97, and I was like, this is good. It's not the old stuff; it's new stuff, but this is good.
I think it's better.
Yeah,
Like,
it
'cause
is. Yeah.
I mean, I watched the original show when I was a kid, but I wasn't like on it. Like, I think I watched more of the Spider-Man show when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But leading up to watching the new X-Men show, I was like, oh, I'll catch up and I'll watch the rest of it that I didn't finish. And I watched the whole thing. And it's fun. It's good. It's got some good stuff. I think that the stuff that it's good at, the new one just does that. Like,
It's
I
all of
think
it.
that
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I think that like it's really leaning into like the human-y stuff. Like the original one goes crazy. Like it goes really into like it goes into the wildlands and it goes into space and it
Mhm.
does all that kind of stuff. That's the weaker stuff on the show. It's the stuff about prejudice and it's the stuff about like just the real world that they would be living in.
Well,
Um,
yeah,
and that's what they focus on.
I find it stays in on my rewatch of the original series. I found it's like when I watched the first episode is when they saved Jubilee against the Sentinels
Yeah.
and what was after and blah blah blah. And yeah, X-Men '97 stays in like that episode feel for like
Hmm.
all of it. And yeah, so it gets like into like some deep issues and it gets into some really interesting character building. And yeah, they go into weird places and whatever, but at the same time, like there's a core purpose to the story being told. Whereas I think, like with a lot of comic book things, they're like, okay, here's the real story, but let's do some shit over here. Like
Yeah.
it's for kids. We got to make it light. So we're gonna
Right.
go crazy. And so that's what it did because when Phoenix comes in, you got to go to space and all this kind
Hmm.
of stuff, right? And when what is it? Sinister? Is it Sinister? That's
Yeah.
the guy with the
Mr.
cape and
Sinister.
whatever.
Yeah.
You have to see his deformed creatures and stuff like that. So and him kind of terrorizing people. So you got to go there and see like the place with the dinosaurs where Xavier can walk all of a sudden
Hmm.
and stuff. Like you gotta do that weird shit to get the human shit in the middle so the kids can like absorb it easily.
Yeah.
But this new stuff isn't made for kids. So we're just like, no, we're gonna push
Yeah.
the hard stuff. There you go.
It is the most obvious example of a this is for the people that used to watch the thing 30 years ago.
Mhm.
We're not making any like we're not pretending that this is the new thing for the new generation. This is for people that watch that show.
Yeah, this is the same thing that happened on the last episode of the podcast. We did Samurai Jack and we talked about the season 5.
Mhm.
And yeah, the season 5 was made for people who grew up on the stuff
Right.
the old stuff. And we're like, no, this is now these are for adults. It's not for kids
Right.
anymore. It's for the kids that were kids when it first came out, but they're adults now. And
Yeah.
here's the real deep story, and we can show blood and gore and
Hmm.
deep introspection and blah blah blah. Here you go. Some sexy bits. It
Yeah.
happens.
Oh,
Yeah.
some sexy bits.
Sexy
Um,
bits. I don't know. I said it like that. I'm sorry.
but it's fine. But it's similar with the Scott Pilgrim Takes Off series. Is that I don't think the show would make any sense if you haven't seen the movie.
Oh, really?
Absolutely none. I mean,
Oh.
it would make some sense, but you'd be like, what? Because it only makes sense if you know that it's a deviation.
Oh, so do they make like a lot of references to the movie or like the comic book even?
It's been a while since I've read the comic book, so I don't have that in my head as much for them to make references to as obviously. But yes, the show is definitely a supplement to the movie.
Okay. Yeah. I just
Um,
I just assumed they made it as a like a standalone thing. But if you know them like with a lot of things, if you know the other version of it, you'll get it more. That's what I assume. But like
well,
if it's
as
standalone,
you
it's
said,
fine.
it's you know that there is a pretty hard deviation from it, right? Um, if you don't know that that's a deviation, I don't know what you would think of the show at all.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Like a lot of it, like the jokes wouldn't be funny. Like it would just be like you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
only funny if you know that,
yeah.
like that it's different from before.
Okay,
And it'll do parallel stuff. So like the joke will be from that happening the same way it happened or different than it happened before, that kind of stuff. So
okay.
it wouldn't really make sense otherwise. But I would highly recommend it, especially as somebody that was the exact age that it was supposed to be when the movie came out.
Got it. Yes.
And so it is the prime example of like we're going to look back and look and review our own work and figure out what the good parts of that were and what the failures of it were, and we're going to try to riff off that to figure out or to contend with some of the criticism of it. I think the show is a very much a direct response to criticism of the original story.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do have to get around to having a look at it somehow.
Yeah. I also don't have Netflix. I watched it at someone else's house.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what friend do I have that has Netflix? Can
Yeah.
hang out with it. Yeah.
It's
Do you
it's a
think
pretty quick watch. I think it's only 6 episodes.
Oh, that's it? Oh yeah, I could
Yeah.
definitely talk somebody into that then.
Yeah.
Do you think there's gonna be a second season?
I don't know. Um, it. I don't want to go into too many details. I think people want it. I think people. It was very well received.
Yeah, it was.
This movie was a flop, so I was a little surprised that they kind of continued with it,
I
especially
mean,
with like the whole creative team being the same.
well, I know like in the theater was a flop, but I think it did really well after like
Oh, okay.
releases. Like it did the classic uh
Office Space deal,
yeah, that kind of thing, you know. Sorry, hidden gem, you
right?
know, cult favorite thing. I believe it did.
Hmm.
Um
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, because it's not one of those movies where you say it and people are just like, I don't know what you're talking about, which I
Right.
get a surprising amount. But I say Scott Pilgrim, and people are like, oh yeah, that thing, it was great. You're like, all right. Oh my God, that is bad. Yeah. It said the budget was 60 million and it grossed US and Canada 33 million.
Yeah, that's not great.
No,
Considering that
no.
probably is mostly Canada because we're like, I was where it shot.
Yeah, I was there. I
I
know
want to
where
see the
that thing
green
is.
beanery on the screen.
Yeah, it only had 10 million the opening weekend. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
It
And
it
I was one of those people. I was like the 15 by
yeah,
$15.
I'm only like 1 million of that.
Yeah. Look, I
I
bought the
did see it
DVD
twice in the
and the
theater.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know,
I have it on I have a physical copy. I don't have the soundtrack yet. I'm sure it will happen at some point.
should. I think you'd like it.
I do like it. I've listened to it for sure, but I have not purchased one.
Got it.
But it's definitely it's a movie that like was a very specific time in my life.
Hmm.
And it's maybe not a time that I look at and think, man, I was a good guy then. Like, like do you also have that affliction in your brain where it's like, no, anything I did before 5 years ago, I was a fucking idiot.
Only five? Only five?
Well, maybe it depends.
I mean,
Maybe not
I'm
now. Pandemic slowed everything down, so I've just been
yeah,
in arrested development for the last 5 years. But
that's true.
um,
Everybody's in a pretty bad place right about now.
yeah.
So, you know.
Well, no, it's sort of. I look back on this movie as like, yeah, I sort of like saw myself in some of these characters, and I probably wasn't a very great person all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
So I
It's
was
like,
22, dumb.
yeah. Yeah, people don't realize how dumb they are in their 20s,
Yeah.
for sure. This movie, I don't actually um see myself in any of the characters. Like I don't relate to them. Like I don't think I'm Ramona or I'm Knives or I'm Scott or whatever. Um, but I do understand the I don't know, the emotional underbelly of it, I
Yeah.
guess, is the thing that I connect with. Like, because like yes, they're not all good people, but the characters are good enough
Hmm.
that you like them and you want them to succeed, but they're also going through a thing,
Yeah.
you know? And like I identify with the wanting to be somebody,
Hmm.
right? Or the wanting to get my foothold in my life kind of thing. Because I think everybody hits that point where they're just like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I have this thing and I really, really want it to work. Like I think everybody has one at least something like that in their life. And I
Right.
think that's the thing I connect with in the movies, not specific characters, but like just kind of what generally they're going through.
Yeah. No, I totally. I mean, yeah. I don't think I ever thought like, well, I'm this guy.
Mm.
I don't really watch things that way either. But I am like, except like Francis Ha. I think I'm sort of like, yeah, I see a lot of myself in that in
Oh,
Francis
I've
Ha.
never seen it.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a
Yeah.
good like 20s like aimlessness movie.
I don't know,
Um,
like the advertising reminded me a lot of not is it called Happy Go Lucky? Yeah, I think it's Happy Go Lucky is what it's called. Um and sorry, I gotta make
is
sure
Happy Go
I'm
Lucky the one with Sally Hawkins?
yes. Yes, this is the one I'm
That's the
thinking of.
Mike Lee movie, I think.
Yeah. I hate this movie with a passion.
Right.
And the advertising for Francis Ha reminded me of this, and I was like, I'm not
Mm.
watching that. Why would I fucking watch it? It's just gonna piss me off. Because I find like with Holly Golightly, Poppy in this movie is ignorantly blissful and not they're not good people.
Right.
They're not pleasant people, but they're giving off this air of being whimsical and carefree. And I'm like, but you're not whimsical and carefree. You're being a bitch and you're destroying
Right.
people. And it just upsets me.
Right.
And I was
So
just
that's
like, no, I
yeah.
don't like it.
That is not the vibe of Francis Ha.
Good.
Francis Ha is sort of it's a lot about female friendship. And it's her it's a coming of age movie, but in like post college stuff. Like it's
Okay.
more that than it is anything. I think the line that kind of sticks out to me is she's at like kind of a fancy dinner party with like one of her former professors or something. Um, and somebody says to her, it's like, oh, what do you do? And she goes, oh, I kind of am a dancer. And she goes, why do you say kind of? And she goes, because I don't really do it. And I'm like, oh, I get that. I understand that 100%.
Yeah.
Whereas just like I went to art school. So like, it's like, well, I'm a filmmaker, kind of. It's like, why do you say that? Like, I don't really do it.
Yeah.
So like it's sort of like, it's sort of like, well, what do I do now? Like I got the training, I'm out, and she's just sort of figuring out as she goes. She's sort of homeless. She's kind of like she kind of like couch surfs kind of throughout the whole thing. And it's sort of like her figuring herself out and getting stable. It's
Oh, okay.
it's it doesn't really, I mean, like sometimes she's selfish and kind of says kind of shitty things, but mostly she's just like, I don't have a lot of money.
Mm.
And I
Well,
need to
yeah.
like, yeah, and like I really need this tax return check. Like that's really like
Yeah.
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 Um there's a very relatable moment in that movie where she goes to cash that check because she has to pay for like this dinner they're at. She's like, no, no, I want to pay half. I want to pay half. So she goes to cash this check at the ATM, and it says that we will charge you a $4 fee to cash it, and she just goes, oh, and then it
Because
just cuts to her running to another ATM.
you need that $4 can make some big difference.
It sucks. I
Yes.
remember seeing those when you're at like like you're at like a CIBC when you're with TD or whatever. Like you
Yeah.
get the oh, you're at the wrong machine, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to pay a $2 fee
Yeah.
on a
On 20
twenty
bucks or
dollar.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Anytime I was
it's
in that situation, I would calculate, I'm like, what makes this worthwhile? So if I take out $60, do I have $60?
Yeah.
$60 will make the $2 worthwhile because that reduces the percentage. So it'd be this amount, blah, 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 blah. I'm like doing
Yeah.
all this math in my head. I'm just like, oh, wait, there's one down the street. Then get up and leave. You're like, what?
Yeah. But like that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, I get this person. And I feel like some of Scott has that as well, where he's just kind of like he's just not a very good adult
Yeah.
yet. And in like a way that like he's kind of sweet and innocent in his own way about it. Selfish in his own way as well. But like just sort of like, well, what's he supposed to be doing? Like he doesn't have any prospects. He's in a shitty band that like they don't even know if they suck.
Yeah.
And you know, I think in the book he used to make burritos at Stinky D's. I think that's part of the story. Like he's just sort of a bum.
Yeah.
Um, but I find that not necessarily relatable. I've been pretty steadily employed for a while, but like you kind of get that as a character.
Yeah.
And I like that I get that.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing I never understand about movies like this where the character's like, no, I'm employed. But I'm like, you're eating and you have somewhere to live. How are you doing that?
Yeah.
Is always my question. Because yeah, he has a roommate and everything who's kicking him out and stuff. But at the same time, I'm just like, but how long did your roommate put up with you not paying
Yeah.
for anything and feeding you? Like, what?
Scott doesn't even get mad
No.
when Wallace kicks him out. He's sort of just like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
I think he knows he's not doing anything. And he's like, I do need to do something. And maybe that's the push that'll get him to do stuff. Who knows?
Well, it starts with Kim going, what are you, 28 now?
He's so tired of his shit.
And he's like, she's still in high school. Wasn't that like 15 years ago?
Oh my God. I love her lines. They're great.
Yeah.
They are great.
But you know, he's just sort of a bum,
Yeah.
but like kind of lovable
Mm-hmm.
in a dopey way.
Yeah, like you understand why his friends put up with him. You
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he's actively ever trying to hurt anybody.
No, I don't think so either. Like he's not like George Costanza, he's just a fucking dick that
That's true.
kind of like laugh at. But he's more of just like, I'm just doing things to survive-ish. And unfortunately, and he's also guarding his own emotions as well. And in doing so, he's hurting other people and not realizing it because he's just like, I gotta worry about me.
Yeah.
And not in like a selfish way, but just in a self-preservation way.
Right. That's what I was just gonna say. He's been in self-preservation mode for way too long. That's sort of the kind of the overall arc of the movie.
What is it? 431 days, I think.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Since his haircut. Yeah.
Because he's like, he was on the phone with Nat, and they were like, he's like, yeah, when was that? I don't know, like a year and a half ago or something. He's like, Scott is acutely aware of how long ago it was, and so I think it was 431. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's been cutting his own hair since.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, his hair looks terrible.
Get a haircut.
Yeah.
Oh, and also a weird thing I found out. Apparently, the random voice, like the computer voice, or like the comic book voice that shows up every once in a while, is apparently Bill Hader.
Yeah, it's Bill Hader.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. No, there's a bunch of like, he like seems to have cashed in a lot of favors for this because there's like either or that or there's a lot of dorks who read the comic book before it came out because like there's a lot of he pulled like for a lot of people for some reason. Like this is a pretty like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't as big a cast at the time, but I mean like Brandon Routh was Superman and he plays Evil X number 3. Like that's weird, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, even like who do we have here? Chris Evans.
Yeah, Captain America's in it.
Yeah, but this was definitely before Captain America.
But post Human Torch.
That is right. It was post Human Torch, so like he was still a face that was well known.
Yeah,
and of course Jason Schwartzman was really known. Ben Roth, the other guys. But Mary Louise Winstead, what was she in before this? I don't think
I
she was
think
like a
she
big
was in
name.
something, but this is where I know her from.
Yeah. I don't know. I really liked her in Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter, to be honest. I love referencing that movie
It's
because people are just
the
like,
movie
"What?
I got yelled at in.
Why? Did you yell something like that's inaccurate?"
No, my friend and I were laughing at the movie because it's Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. We went to like an
Well,
11:30
yeah,
a.m.
that's what you're.
screening.
Wait, I'm sorry. Were people telling you to be quiet because they were seriously taking in the movie?
Okay, so at the end of the movie, after we'd been like, I can't believe a vampire threw a horse at Abraham Lincoln,
That's like the
which is
best
something
part.
that happens. Yeah, which like that's just for context. That's something that happens in the movie. Somebody throws a horse at the president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln.
Well, he wasn't president yet.
He was right. So, excuse me. That makes the difference. So my friend and I go like laughing our ass off because this movie's real stupid. Uh, and we knew that, so we went to a cheap screening before noon. And
Okay.
at the end of the movie, this guy gets up, looks at us, and goes, "Thanks for ruining the movie, guys." And then he walked out. Yeah,
Like, because you were laughing? Because that's what the
I
movie's
think so.
about?
I guess. I know maybe we made snide comments. I can't tell. I
Oh
don't
my
really
God.
remember that part of it. I remember giggling at it.
Yeah.
It's perhaps that there was nobody else in the theater besides like three people.
Yeah.
So maybe we were a little louder than we would have been in a packed theater. I'm not sure.
Okay. No, I remember that
But
being a really good theater experience. Just people laughing, having a good time with it. You know, not ruining anything, but just being like, "What? This is
well,
crazy."
apparently we ruined it.
Oh,
We were
okay.
the nail in the stake in the coffin, as it were, of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Right.
Sorry, everybody.
So FYI, Mary Louise Winstead, these are the movies I think people will know that came out before Scott Pilgrim. So there was Sky High. She was also in Final Destination 3, Black Christmas, and actually Death Proof came out before Scott Pilgrim. She was in
Oh,
that.
right. She's the
And
cheerleader in that.
yes, and Live Free and Die Hard also came out before this. So
Right.
she
She
plays the daughter.
plays what's her first name? She's in Die Hard
Lucy.
1.
She
Lucy.
is. Yes. Come home. Yes.
But I completely forgot that she was in Death Proof.
I fully thought Death Proof and Live Free Die Hard, which I should know because I've already talked about these movies. I thought they came out after Scott Pilgrim.
Right.
So
What was the first one you said in that list?
Sky High.
Sky High. I really like Sky High.
I have never watched Sky High.
It's way better than it should be.
Yeah. That's what I've
Uh
been told.
it also has like Dave Foley and Kevin McDonald doing like duo bits together. Like oh, that's good stuff.
Oh, and that's Young Neil's in this. He's the main
He's
boy.
the main guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird. He looks so much younger than her in Scott Pilgrim later.
Isn't that it? No, maybe that's not him
No, I
because
don't think
I'm
that's
not.
him. I think that's another guy.
That just looks almost exactly like him.
Yeah, there's a lot of generic looking white dudes. Like I know that sounds mean, but
His name is Michael Angarano.
okay.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of stuff too.
Yeah.
He was in
No,
Almost
that's
Famous.
definitely a guy from that thing.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think he does like a lot of like Disney things, like or Disney adjacent things, and maybe like he might have been in like Fury or something, like one of those like war movies.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like his face is definitely like I've seen your face places,
yeah.
so for sure. Anyways, yeah, I think we're you know way off topic now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What? I mean, Sky High was it? I mean, we're doing the filmography of Mary Elizabeth Winstead and various other characters from the movie, so I think
yes,
I don't think
so
that's too far off. We
not
stayed
too off.
relatively on topic for
I
us
think so.
for this show because we are hitting the 3 hour mark.
We
So
are. I was like, no, we'll keep it short today. No,
I
that's
thought
not
this would
gonna
be a
happen.
short one. I really did. I was making the joke at the beginning, but I really did think that this was. I didn't have that many notes.
Me neither. I have three lines for Saving Private Ryan, which is Bryan Cranston. He looks so young. Ted Danson! Exclamation. Nathan
No.
Fillion! Exclamation. And what was he doing on the bridge?
Hmm.
That's it. Those are all of my notes. And then Scott Pilgrim, there's a little dash,
Yeah.
nothing written below it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I have very few for Scott Pilgrim. I made a note about a very small detail that I really enjoy, which is that they digitally altered the bokeh in the background of a when they're on the bus together. Bokeh is out of focus lights, like when they
okay.
turn into like little balls that spiral out. So they digitally altered those to be hearts.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. No, when you said bouquet, I was like, there's a scene with flowers in the background?
yeah.
It's
No,
fine.
Bokeh, I think is actually how it's written out.
I
The other
mean,
thing I wanted to mention was that Todd plays the bass like Flea.
oh, okay.
That's I wrote that down because it sounded like the beginning of Around the World from the Californication album.
Okay.
I have a
No.
weird thing in my brain where I make associations like just deep pulls.
Yes, that is those are very deep pulls.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Well done. Well done.
Telling you, listen to the bass fight and then listen to Across the Universe or no, whatever the first track is off Californication. Around the
yeah.
World, Across the World, whatever. That
Okay.
first track, I feel like it's the same bass line.
Well, I mean, they're probably pulling from their repertoire, and that's what
Maybe.
they know. It's fine. But yeah. Uh, well, final thoughts. Do you recommend these movies to
I
people?
recommend both of them, but weirdly both with caveats. Like
Oh,
I mean like I think that Saving Private Ryan is obviously a masterfully made movie
okay.
and like has some themes and form stuff that is very important to see and understand. I think that some of the specific parts of it, I was like, I feel like you're leaning too hard into something that you shouldn't be. Like I'm being very hard on it because it's regarded as such a classic. Like it's definitely something to see, but and make your own judgment on. I don't think I'm gonna want to watch it again.
Okay.
Personally, it's a pretty rough watch. Scott Pilgrim is a movie that I love, but I apologize for. Is sort of like I like this, but I totally get why somebody else doesn't.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Where it's just
Okay.
like I can't argue with you. You are correct, but I like it anyway.
Yeah.
Um, like I think some of the problems in terms of like some of these characters become unlikable at points in the movie. Um, and I think that is a fault of the movie more than it is the source material. I think the source material has them be selfish maybe in a more likable way. But like there's parts in this movie where we're kind of like, yeah, they're kind of not nice.
Yeah, but
And a little unpleasant.
I think that those parts that are unlikable in the movie seem worse than in the book because
Yeah.
nothing leads up to it. Whereas in the
Yeah.
books, there's like you could see why they're just like, no, we're gonna be selfish here. Fuck off, Scott. Like
Yeah.
there's a reason for it. Yeah.
The problem with the movie is solved by addition, which is a weird thing to say, right? Like it's you need to it needed to be padded out a little more, like give us a little more breathing room and get to know the characters a bit better. Like once the movie starts, it doesn't stop.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's very true. Yeah.
yeah, so that's the yeah. So I recommend both, but like with like, but I kind of get why you wouldn't want to watch it.
No, I disagree with Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
Um, like yes, it is stuck in a specific time period, like as you said, like the reasons why. But I think it's like a fun, lighter movie that you can enjoy. And despite the character issues within it, and as you said, adding to this would actually make it better because they don't give the room for proper character development, except for certain parts of Scott because it's about him.
yeah.
Um, but other than that, like I think it's enjoyable and worth a good watch.
Yeah.
Not really a caveat, but like, yeah, watch it. I think it's good. Saving Private Ryan, I agree with you completely. I will never watch this movie again. And I don't think this is a movie that's on people's like summer watch list or anything every year. So yeah, and that's fine.
It's how I celebrate July 7th every year as I watch the Normandy invasion as portrayed through the most harrowing 25 minutes
of your life, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, no, I agree with you on that one.
No.
And it's good. Anyways, Josh, thank you so much again for chatting with me about some movies and
I always enjoy it.
Throwing in deep cuts in there that even confuse me, who I think I know stuff, and apparently I don't.
I didn't even get to talk about Kim Deal.
Kim Deal? I don't even know what that is.
The basis for the Pixies.
Oh my God. I don't know what's happening. Look, I'm going to stop you there before we get into a different deep dive of some kind of weird thing that I'm like, I don't know what this is. Let's do some research about it. Nobody needs this. Nobody. That's fine. Anyways, thank you so much again for being on. And looking forward to talking to you again.
Yeah. Always. Always
Bye.
happy to be here. Bye.
Bye. Well, that's it for this episode of Off My Shelf. Until next time, you can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at ohmyshelf, or you can send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. This episode was produced and edited by me, Tracy, with original theme song by Ori Falconer. Like, subscribe, leave a comment wherever you listen to this podcast. Come back next time to see what falls off my shelf.